Hey guys, and welcome to Death Before Dishonour, the second qualifier of Season 4, and we have some mighty opponents today. Up in round 1 we have Noob for Life up against Ludwig, representing Clan BBB, and round 2 we have Stormrunner up against either V-Claw, if he can make it. He's a little bit careful on times at the moment, so hopefully we'll have V-Claw. If not, we have Suave or the boy Red Legion waiting in the wings. So plenty of potential great candidates to fill his shoes in case he can't make it. So if we hop in here, you can see we are going to be on Troll Country. Ludwig is going to be taking the forces of the Dowie, trying to claim vengeance on Noob for Life's Lizardmen. It looks like he's going pretty bold here. This is a symbol of Tic-Tac-Toe's faction, I believe. Perhaps we will get to see him in action. Noob for Life, known for bringing the memes and representing the Extreme Meme Team. Hope you guys are all good today. I'm very excited. We're back to the original format for this week, so there's obviously 4 qualifiers in every season of Death Before Dishonour, and those 4 champions of each qualifier come together for a grand final. So qualifier 1 was open to unlimited participants, and they can constantly join and get as many as possible, and that is going to be the same for next week. But this week we just have the 4 players to allow people who can only play evenings to still get in on the action. Looks like the boys are ready, and we're going to hop in. What's up, Red Legion? Hope you're doing good, man. We had some great games the other day. Me and Red Legion played a couple of really close games where I'm still so upset about his dragon. I'm going to show the replay at some point of the both games. So I don't want to say too much, but there was a very salty moment by me where something happened, and I was like, I'm calling CA about this. I'm complaining, but it was some great games overall. Let's hop in here and have a quick look at both the builds when the players do load in. We're going to be playing on Troll Country, of course, that is a tradition, and I'm just going to be randomly picking tournament maps for both the semi-finals and the finals, of course, from the competitive kind of map pack, basically, and it should be some good fun. Here we go. Looks like the players are already loaded in, so we're going to get this one underway quite quickly here. And for Ludwig, representing BBB and the forces of the Dowie in the front lines, we do have 4 units of miners with blasting charges. A fantastic pick up against the Lizardmen, for they deal huge damage to skinks with their blasting charges. You have to be a bit careful though, as elite players like Noob for Life will try and bait out those blasting charges with single entities and so forth. Now, for the rest of his forces, it looks like in the main battle line we're going to have Dowie warriors mixed in with Longbeards. Not a bad shout at all, so 2 Longbeards, the rest Dowie warriors. For a huge gun line here, we have Thunderers, Iron Drakes with Warhammer torpedoes, which is my favourite unit to take up against the Lizardmen, and more Thunderers as well. Only 1 unit of Slayers. Oh no, I take that back. Looks like we have 2 units of Slayers. That's going to be some nice backline protection, and of course a Bolt Thrower as well. Looks like he's just organising his forces. So a super fun and solid build. For his Lord, we have a Rune Lord up on top of his anvil, riding absolutely dirty. Look at this guy, an absolute hero, bringing Master Unification, Wrath and Ruin, Oath and Steel, all that good stuff. Very potent build here. I'm not going too hardcore with the artillery, but instead bring in Thunderers. So it's interesting to see if Noob for Life can crack that Dowie nut. So for the forces of the Lizardmen, it looks like on the flanks here we have some skink cohorts with javelins. I'm assuming that is going to be on both sides. In the main battle line we have Saurus Warriors mixed in with Temple Guard here. I see people do this quite often. Myself, I'm not too big a fan of bringing the Temple Guard in this matchup. I mean, I love the Temple Guard. They are one of my favourite units, but I feel like they do struggle. They do have okay armor piercing abilities, which can help them crump through Dowie warriors and so forth quickly, but they do take an age to break through Longbeards, but there's not too many of those about, so perhaps I will be proven wrong here. We have 2 units of Crocscott in the back as well to have some much needed punch and armor piercing, as well as a Feral Stegodon, 2 Feral Stegodons in fact, to try and help break through. Down on the ground here we have a Skink Priest of Beast, coming with that Manticore Sun, which is going to be great value. He needs to shut down those Thunderers and Warhammer torpedoes as quickly as possible. Otherwise, the Crocscott and Stegodons are really going to pay the price. And the man, the myth, the legend, Noob for Life brings who I would consider actually to be the worst Lord in the entire game. Yes, that's right, even worse than Gorst in my opinion, is Tic-Tac-Toe. He has come in with his rock drop, so perhaps he's going to have some ability here, but he even struggles to snipe out casters half the time if the RNG goes against him, and he's just a super wet noodle. But he's going to bring mobility to the game here, and perhaps trying to snipe out the Rune Lord. I mean, the Rune Lord can probably beat him down quite comfortably, but he can try and get on top of the Iron Drakes and so forth. And here we go, a pretty tough matchup for the Dowie here, of course having a small enclosed formation. Oh, you don't see the Anvil Lord often, that is indeed. I like Noob's new name. It is very cool indeed. Noob for Life though, don't let him be fooled by his name here. He is in fact a very talented player, and also welcome to the chat Stormrunner, who will be up in game 2. So it looks like Tic-Tac-Toe already taking a tiny bit of damage here as they do advance. Bolt Thrower trying to target him down, and the Thunderers starting to unleash some shots as well into Saurus Warriors. But these guys won't mind, they're shielded, thick hides as well. Scaly skin should protect them quite nicely here, so we do get a little bit of slow motion. Hopefully the lag will subside. Don't think I've had both these players playing at the same time on the channel before. I believe this is Ludwig's debut. Looks like it is starting to clear up here. In comes some blasting charges. Looks like the Saurus trying their best to slow motion dodge them, but quite a few are going to catch on the sides there. But it is better than going into skinks, although there's only 2 skink units in this build. Just trying to wrap as much as possible. A Manticore has been summoned as well, which is going to be particularly useful. And the Ferrocegadon does pop on top of these miners, trying to break them before they can use their blasting charges and pressure into this back line. Slayers are starting to dart around the flanks as well to push them as much as possible. And in comes Tic-Tac-Toe, the man, the myth, the legend. He has to be very careful here. If a Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin goes down on him, and all these Thunderers turn and shoot, he is a dead skink. He is incredibly squishy. Now in the front line, Miners again absolute paddled to death here by these glorious looking Croxagore as Miners' limbs go left, right and centre on the screen. And in the back line, Tic-Tac-Toe has hopped on top of the Iron Drake Warhammer torpedoes, but look how quickly his health disappears. That was one volley from the Thunderers and he's basically dead. Honestly, I think people need to really look at Tic-Tac-Toe as the worst Lord no longer Gauss. In the back line though, great pressure by the Ferromanticore. Did manage to shut down some of the Thunderers, whilst the Ferrocegadon hops on the others, but Tic-Tac-Toe just got absolutely obliterated there. Somehow gets back up into the air. He wants to just sit all the way at the back of the map here and chill out for the majority of the battle. Croxagore are starting to push through into the back line. Some brave Doawi warriors are trying to push through to protect the Thunderers, but these Croxagore are certainly going to have a whale of a time using their paddling clubs and just hammering these guys down hardcore style. Slayers are on top of the Manticore, but it is only a summon, so it is going to disappear as Tic-Tac-Toe runs for the hills as expected and is completely shattered. Skink cohorts need to wrap up and around. Might get some rear charges on these Slayers or load their javelins into them as quick as possible, but with their Lord going down, I feel like the Lizardmen are going to struggle here. Great initial pressure coming in from Noob for Life. Temper Guard doing okay. This is what I mean. Look how long it takes them to beat down just basic Dowie warriors. It is not too impressive on their behalf. However, Croxagore have got into the back line. There's some sneaky skinks here as well to shut down the Thunderers. And the Dowie formation has been completely crumped. But can they rally in this mid-game point? This is always such a key moment in the battle between the Dowie and the Lizardmen. One of the Ferrocegadons has been routed off as well. And there's still a ton of Slayers running around. However, Croxagore do manage to pound down the Iron Drakes. Going to be able to hop along the front line and comfortably beat down Dwarf Warriors and Longbeards. Have some Slayers that are trying to intercept them here. And we can do a great job at bringing down those Croc boys. Over on the flank here, looks like Skink cohorts now starting to smooth around the flank. These Slayers unfortunately been a little bit wasted here by Ludwig up against these Saurus Warriors. You need to pull these guys back, use them to take out the big armoured threats. And the Thunderers are starting to be overwhelmed here, and a Manticore summon does go down. I'd probably just honestly pop him on top of the Rune Lord at this point. Over here in the distance, it looks like we did have some more fiery doom coming down, probably by some blasting charges, as Dwarf Warriors are slowly being dragged apart by Temper. Ah yes, it's the Miners on the flank there who did return from combat. Some Thunderers have formed a secondary gun line in reserve here, but they are starting to run a little low on troops. Only 33 in this unit and 38 in this one, which will severely damage their damage output. It would be nowhere near as potent. In the back here, Rune Lord is being hammered down by the Ferromanticore, which has been slowed by the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, but he won't mind too much as long as he can get his big jaws around the Rune Lord. Skink cohorts as well, hopping on top of the Thunderers. Saurus Warriors are here, and there is Croxagore all over the field. Now, the big problem for the Lizardmen is going to be their leadership into the late game. Balanced power is with them, which is going to help significantly, but with no Lord, the grind will become very, very real. In the back, we do have Miners of Blast Charges trying to take down Skink cohorts as much as possible, and there is still 13 Slayers here and 30 here, which is going to become a real problem. Rune Lord desperately trying to run away, but he's a tanky boy indeed. Looks like he does have plus 60 armor right now with the Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin, allowing him to escape for that Manticore and get into the front line to do some serious work on these Temple Guard. Really struggling to bring down the Longbeards. However, there's a Ferrocegadon here now, which will certainly help out, of course. Fantastic backline pressure so far by the Lizardmen, but is it going to be enough? Skink Priest, great diligent play. It's what I love to see. So the Skink Priest used up his Manticore summons. He's a pretty wet noodle now up against the Dwarves. So what do? Use him to chase off high-value targets, really helping him out get some more money out of this Lord, or Hero, sorry, and help push the balance power even more in his favour. Temper God are now pushing through the main gap, and I think the Lizardmen are just about going to be able to carry this. A really great fight overall by both players. Croxagore on the edge of the map. Slayers need to get those key engagements and try and protect the Thunderers, but there's so many Skinks, Saurus, Temper God all over the field, it's going to be really tough. And down the Slayers go as well in a wash of Saurus and Skink. Looks like the Dowie's still, oh no, Dowie are outnumbered. I'm always assuming I'm looking at the Lizardmen as I'm Lizardman name myself. So Dowie are outnumbered quite heavily here and probably outclassed. Both the Temple Guard are still active. One only has 35 models, but the other has 70. And there's nothing left on the Dowie roster which can really pound these guys down efficiently and quickly. If I was Ludwig, I'm tempted to snipe out their skink breeds at any means necessary and attempt to break the leadership of some of these, you know, low-tier federal troops and then surround the Temple Guard where possible. Ferrocyclons doing their best though, up to, let's see, 45 kills on one, 45 on the other as well. It looks like only 17 on one, which is still some pretty decent damage. Good backline harass as well. Clocksaw have returned. They're a little bit exhausted, but they probably just want to hop on top of these bolt throwers, and Dwarf Warriors force them to retreat once again. And Slayers, unfortunately, have always been getting tangled up by skinks and so forth, which is really nice play by Noob for Life. He needed to take down the skinks. They're one of the main threats. And I think the skink cohort with javelins a really cost-effective way of doing that. And the battle rages on. It looks like the bolt thrower crew are actually going to be able to hop back on top of this. But unfortunately for those lads, the Crocoscore smelled blood. Instantly turn around and cleave these guys in twain here. Dwarf Warriors, you know what? It's not worth it, lads. Leave the precious machinery. As dwarfs literally get decapitated and explode in their effort to get back to their beloved war machines. And it looks like a couple of the boys are going to be able to just get out of there. What's up, El Halco? Nice to see you, man. Cheap and cheerful. What's up, Ronan? That is a saying I'm afraid I do say consistently. Cheap and cheerful. I love the pick of Tic-Tac-Toe. He is god-awful, though, in my opinion. Honestly, worse than Ghost. Like, what does he do? He does literally nothing. I mean, I suppose he took bullets and allowed the Croxigod to get in the back line quickly, but they really won him the game. Croxigod pushed through with the Ferrosteglons and eventually managed to overwhelm the Dowie formation and shut them down, which can be a bit of a problem. So he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 range units to protect. With only 2 Slayers, it can certainly be a little bit tough. I'd probably cut... You kind of want the bolt throwers to lure in the enemy. I'd probably cut 1 unit of Thunderers and perhaps get another unit of Slayers to protect up the back line. But well played by both players, and that is going to be 1-0 in this first best of 3. So of course, guys, we're going to have the 2 semi-finals and the final. GG, well played. And we are going to be switching the map up now. Let us go to Eschen. And while I think about it, let's update this. Bang, New for Life, up 1-0. Check my Discord, make sure we don't have a message yet from V-Claw. Looks like we're all good. And it is Ludwig to pick and ban 2. I'll be there in just 2 seconds, guys, to chat with you. Just setting this out. And there we go. You want maps? Oh, yeah, Stormrun, actually, if you've got some maps. Sorry, I mistook you there for someone like Rapt who would give me some awful maps, but whenever I need myself to cheap and cheerful. Hey, what's up, Pub Palpatine? Good to see you around, brother. Noob for life. Noob for life. Pub Palpatine and Noob for Life have played many a times. They're quite good rivals, good friendly rivals. And it's always great to see those guys in action. They have some incredibly close games all the time. Worse than Nakai? Yes, worse than Nakai, Stormrunner. Far worse than Nakai. Nakai can still do stuff. Nakai isn't quite as bad as people make him out to be. I think it's just because there's so many other better Lizardmen Lord choices. But I mean Tic-Tac-Toe worst in the game. Not even just Lizardmen. I don't see anything. I just like this. I think so. Oh, okay, it's not. So I'm just getting a lizard message from Suave there. So it looks like Ludwig is picking Empire, banning Dowie, and Vampire counts. Let's take a quick sip here as well. Hope you guys are all excited as well for the upcoming DLC. Those war lions, my god. I don't think they're going to be particularly powerful. I mean, it's always tough to judge these things on early access and so forth, but they look so incredible. Like, if you come up against me on ladder and I take high elves, you can guarantee I'm taking that regiment around white lions. They look so good. What are you guys most excited for? Steam message. Yeah, sorry man, I got a ton of Steam messages there in one go. No worries, bro. So, one of our backups has had to drop out. So if V-Claw can't make it, the boy Red Legion will be taking his place. Should be all good. Yeah, sorry about those beeps. We did get some messages just through from Swaff there. Oh, looks like V-Claw is typing. Red Legion. Could be your chance. It depends. He's currently playing another tournament, but he might get knocked out before the second round. And we will see. But of course, we will have Stormrunner representing DBD in round 2. Always fantastic to play. Me and Poison Ducky were actually talking about Stormrunner the other day and his unorthodox picks. You never really know what he's going to bring, which always makes for a good game in my opinion. It's the way I like to play to a point. But I'm more kind of random in the factions I bring, I think. I do main Lizardmen, but after that I can play everyone apart from the Undead factions to a relatively okay level, simply because I've seen so many games via Carson and so forth. Looks like Ludwig is ready, so we have some Empire versus High Elf matchup. I demand an all-Cav build in Old Life. I hope you listen to this. Rohan doth call for aid. Okay, no worries. Sorry, just going to sort this out quickly. So message Red Legion. Oh, there we go. Cool. Message him, see what he says. As we wait on Noob for Life here. Noob for Life without the extreme meme team tag. How can he win without? I mean, he memed. I feel like his Lord was the tag there. Coming in with tic-tac-toe boldly there. Certainly, you know, sends a message to his foes. Lol, Temple Guard. I mean, Temple Guard, they did okay. It's just they take forever to break through that front line. I don't know if they're worth it. But then again, at the late game, I suppose they have pretty good endurance and game stability. So they did hold the line for a long time and were still plentiful into the late game. But yeah, I would drop the Temple Guard and go a little bit wider with some Red Crested Skinks and so forth. What's up, Zutron? AKA Geese Howard. How's it going, my man? Hope you're all good in the hood. Excited to see some of the games by you tomorrow. So we are in fact going to be doing a clan war tomorrow between DBD and RTK. Should be good fun. We're going to be having 3 1v1s, 2 2v2s and 1 3v3. Just sorting out our teams today. Should be some good fun overall. It's going to be streamed at the same time as this one. And yeah, good to see some of you guys there. Yeah, Ronan, we need to get you back in some of these tournaments as well, actually. Cool, looks like Red Legion is in. So round 2, V-Claw is going to be replaced here by Red Legion. Which is all good. That's one of the most useful things about running my own Discord, is I can very quickly find replacements and so forth. That should be an exciting game. I played Red Legion the other day. Oh, drinking Fenman's Cola, it's so good. It's like just more expensive Coca-Cola, but there's something about it. I don't know what it is. I guess it's because it costs more, it feels better. It tastes so good. When I have Coke, I feel a bit guilty, because I'm like, oh, this is so bad for me. But when you have like an expensive bottle of Coke, it makes you feel classy. New for Life, just plotting and planning. I'm hoping for a all-Cav build or an Alephanar pick. A wild Alephanar. Darth Pendragon, my brother, how's it going? Oh, you're doing a tournament match against Ben the Barman, Ronin. Please, if you have some good replays, send them over to me, man. That's a matchup I would love to see. Ben the Barman versus Ronin. That's going to be some tough stuff. Looks like these boys are really going to hop in here. What's up, Bastion, man? How's it going, my brother? Hope you're all good in the hood. Ludwig is indeed playing. He is currently 1-0 down, unfortunately, in this first best of 3, but he's certainly got a chance. Palpatine, thank you. You can be next on the backup list. I think Red Legion can make it, but if anything does happen, like connection issues and so forth, I'll hop you in, man. Excited to see your games tomorrow as well. Representing the clan. And here we go, on Eschen. Pretty damn fun map overall. We have some nice hills on either flank, big dip in the middle, and some trees for that sneaky stabbings, which is what I love. I am so excited for the DLC, so I'm going to keep bringing it up all stream. I apologise. I know everyone's going to be very sick and tired of seeing all the new units by the time the DLC actually drops, but expect me to do so many videos on that type of stuff, so it should be quite good. Anyway, Ludwig trying to get some momentum and get his way back into this game. On either flank, he does have a couple of units of Pistoliers, and in the front, Free Company Militia. What is this? This is beautiful. I love to see these guys in action, wielding their pistols and their swords, looking absolutely glorious here. Don't get to see these guys too often at all, so nice to see them in action. Looks like we have 2 units of Empire Knights on one flank and 2 on the other. So 4 Empire Knights overall, going very cheap and cheerful so far in this forces. Some Spearmen, Flagellants and Spearmen, so a pretty small front line. Looks like we actually have a second unit of Flagellants as well, but still relatively flimsy front line. Should be able to hold with some of the unbreakable troops, however. With a Hellstorm rocket battery, what a man is Ludwig here. Bringing these awesome units, can actually do some serious damage up against tightly packed formations of High Elves, but these guys crazily terrible accuracy. Looks like we also have Volkmar the Grim as well, on top of his mighty chariot, the greatest moustache in the game by far. He's going to be, of course, bringing Grand Soulfire, Grand Shield of Faith, and Grand Hammer of Sigma. He also has his Banishment as well to help his troops win that frontline engagement. And we have a Bright Wizard with Burning Head and Fireball. Pretty fun build overall. A ton of cheap and cheerful Cav, which should do some pretty decent damage overall. And then, you know, pretty weak front line, but if you can protect that Hellstorm, I'm sure it can rack up some value. Now, for the forces of Noob for Life, who is currently in the driving seat in this best of 3. Hidden up here in the trees, we have a couple of Illyrian Reavers. Really nice play here. So these guys have Vanguard, and a lot of people, when they see that Vanguard button, they have to put them in Vanguard for some reason. But using these guys as backline protection is also incredibly viable, especially when there's some nice trees to give them a bit of protection. For his front line, he has White Lines of Chase mixing with 1 unit of Spearmen as well, or 2. And these guys certainly going to be able to win that frontline engagement if they can withstand the missile fire. In a secondary line, we have a couple units of Lothran Sea Guard, and sandwiched in between those bad boys is a unit of Sisters of Avalon. Fire, magic damage, long range, absolute plasma rifles to be able to melt Volkmar and that Bright Wizard if they can get their hands on them. We also have an Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower in the back, protected by 1 unit of Dragon Princes. We have double Handmaidens, something I've been seeing Felcon bring quite a lot recently, actually. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these ladies perform. Skirmish heroes, much in the same way as a Waystalker, but of course they can take horses, making them much more quick and be able to dart around the battlefield. We have Teclis coming in with Regrowth, Enfeebling Foe, and that of Amantok, and 1 more unit of Illyrian Reavers up in the sky. And it looks like the Hellstorm Rocket Battery actually going after the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower there. I mean, it's hard to tell where this thing is actually aiming, I suppose, as it does kind of just fling shots all over the place, but it's definitely going to lose that trade up against the Bolt Thrower, which is far better at taking down artillery pieces. But it looks like the Bolt Thrower for now, going after the Bright Wizard, making some okay contact out the gate. And then comes the Hellstorm Battery. So I'm so not used to saying that name, it's hard to pick up on it. But it looks like the Lothran Sea Guard are now in range, and they're certainly going to do some decent damage to the Free Company Militia. Sisters of Avalon as well are going to start unleashing. A couple of early shots do go into the Handmaidens, taking quite a bit of damage here, but they can be healed up in the late game. And a massive overload on this left-hand flank as Pistolers get danger close to some Illyrian Reavers. They spot them just about in time, and Empire Knights are certainly going to crumple those elves if they do not fall back. Looks like they are going to come out of the forest, however. Volkmar is going to be an absolute beast to deal with. If he can hop on top of the Sisters of Avalon and shut them down, there's not too much else which is going to be particularly great against him. An early banishment is coming down on the Lothran Sea Guard, chewing those guys up pretty bad, but it looks like it is going to unfortunately start to swirl and twirl its way away from the Lothran Sea Guard. The Handmaiden's going to be hunting down Volkmar where possible. That Bright Wizard has taken an absolute beating, needs to fall back way out of range of that Bolt Thrower. You can try and juke back and forth all you like, but with Handmaidens constantly doing pressure as well, it's going to be pretty tough. In the back lines, Empire Knights have managed to surround some Illyrian Reavers here. Going to get a really nice rear charge on these guys as the second unit does fall back as soon as the Spearmen approach. Really great micro so far by Ludwig, although it looks like Noob for Life has managed to pin those guys in for the most part. Rocket Battery doing some decent damage to Sisters of Avalon so far, and Volkmar is going to be a pain, but it's going to be tough because the rest of the Empire forces are basically crumbling here. Free Company Militia have been forced off. We do have a nice little bombardment coming in, but it looks like it only clipped 1 unit of White Lines. Not getting the best value, unfortunately. Handmaiden's constantly on the hunt, and unfortunately that Bright Wizard needs to keep like way out of range up over here as he's been annihilated, and without the magic, the Empire are really going to struggle into the late game. Pistolers are rallying back to the main fight, and the Empire Knights are having to flee from some Illyrian Reavers just to get away from their buddies, the Spearmen. In the back lines, Empire Knights are once again dueling with some Illyrian Reavers, but unfortunately for them, Sisters of Avalon causing huge problems to them. Honestly, I would take Volkmar and hop on these ladies as quickly as possible, although it looks like Teclis getting in there with Enfeebling Foe pops and Volkmar trying to do him dirty. And Handmaidens aren't the worst melee combatants either, so they can actually go toe-to-toe Volkmar to, you know, relatively good strength. The Hellstorm Rocket Battery only up to 12 kills, but it's been doing some okay splash damage overall. Free Company Militia shooting into White Lines from point blank range. Empire Knights doing some nice cycle charging as well, and perhaps the Empire Cav here may be able to win the day. Unfortunately, one unit is getting pounded by the Sisters, which is not good news for them. Up here, Lynn Reaver's doing okay up against Empire Knights, and in the far distance, more Reavers. Where are the Dragon Princes? What happened to those guys? I may have completely missed them, unfortunately. Are they up over here? Oh, they're dueling the Empire Knights up in the high ground. Looks like they've been taking a bit of a beating, though, just due to the sheer number of Empire Knights, as one of the units does come out of the forest, down the hill with a glorious charge for Sigma, spearing the Lothran Seaguard in the back, who go absolutely flying. These guys should honestly just keep going, keep up the momentum, pop on top of all these nice, tasty units. I feel like the Empire's starting to come into this game quite nicely now. Hellstorm's been allowed to use all its missiles so far, and it's doing some okay splash damage as the game goes on. 3 company militias have got back online as well, and the Empire Knights slowly grinding out through sheer attrition as another banishment is coming down here on the back of the Spearmen. Great micro as his own Spearmen do fall back, but the Spearmen chase, and actually retreating there kind of cost him this banishment. If he'd held the line, a lot more of these Spearmen would have taken damage, but I suppose that's the risk to take. Volkmar is going after the Sisters now. He's not the greatest duelist in the world. He's certainly better against infantry. Only 1 kill so far. He really needs to be hopping on top of Sisters, bolt throwers, all those tasty targets to really make some good value. Chasing Teclis isn't really going to get him anywhere in the game. In the front line, looks like White Lions have pushed through. They are over chasing a little bit here, but Noob 5 can certainly turn this to his advantage. He can simply swing them round and hop on top of the Hellstorm rocket battery, although it looks like a Handmaiden may be considering that. Nope, it looks like the White Lions are just going to be doing that as the Handmaiden starts to swoop back, and they just need to focus down Volkmar with all of their arrows, as he's going to be such a beast here in the late game. Equal Bolfra has once again been able to stabilise because Alien Reavers have popped into the back here to save them from these pesky Empire Knights. And there was a nice little comeback there for the Empire. I think once again they're starting to struggle. Volkmar going up against the Handmaidens with Enfeebling Foe popped on him, makes him much more squishy and of course stops him doing so much damage. Both the Handmaidens are really going to start making him feel the pain. 3 company militia though are getting some free shots as well. The Equal Bolfra needs to be shut down. It's doing so much damage. It did great damage of course to the Firecaster early on, and now Volkmar is really taking an absolute hammering here. But looks like Flagellants are busy cleaning up the Sisters. They just managed to finish them off, so they can hop onto the Bolt Throne now and shut that down. But it looks like the rest of the Empire forces are starting to break. Unfortunately, that glorious Hellstorm rocket battery has started to fall here. 23 kills and some okay splash damage. You know, it did some decent work. And there's still a lot of Empire troops dotted around, but the balance power is slipping away, unfortunately, rather quickly now. And army losses is going to set in here, and it will simply be Volkmar versus the world. And he simply doesn't have the stomach to deal with this many elves. The slight healthy unit of Dragon Princes, 2 Handmaidens plus Teclis isn't, you know, great in combat, but he's not appalling, especially with his potions and so forth. Flagellants have shut down the Equal Bolt Thrower, but it's going to be a slow affair. There's only 24 of those guys left, and nice play by Noob for Life, keeping these guys on guard mode so they can continue to unleash shots into Volkmar. Enfeebling Foe has been popped on him, and I'm afraid that is going to be game, but very well played to both of these guys. And don't stop the memes. Never stop the memes. And it looks like Noob for Life is going to be qualifying for the finals of this heat here. The question is, who will meet him, Stormrunner or Red Legion? Be prepared to hop into the lobby, guys. I'll send you an invite in just a second. Password is 123. Anyway, really cool builds overall. I love the Hellstorm rocket battery. Heavy mean, in my opinion, but did some okay work. And, you know, kind of, I suppose, return the favour for that tic-tac-toe in the first game. Now, Volkmar as well, I quite like in this matchup, but he needed to push through a lot more aggressively early on onto the Sisters at Avalon. They were allowed to fire for a decent amount of time, racking up 59 kills, but in reality, it's the HP damage them and the Bolt Thrower did, taking out the poor Bright Wizard and then eventually Volkmar. Still, GG, well played, guys. Well played, love the build, indeed. Good luck in the finals. Great sportsmanship all round, and that is the thing I value the most. I know I say it every stream, but people who are easy to get on with and good sports all round will always be invited back, regardless of skill level. It just makes my job so much easier, and I think it's a bit better for the community. Well played. See you in the final, Noob, and you in the stream. Oh, they've left. Oh, well, okay. So let's get in Storm. Where are you going to be? Oh, someone's already joined. Who's that? Red Legion. Awesome. Let's get in Storm. Stormrunner. There we go. And we are going to go Doc Karaz. Hey, bud. Let's update the scoreboard, and then I'll come and chill with you guys and chat for a little while. So New for Life taking that first semi-final 2-0. Really nice display. New for Life is a fantastic player. Really cool guy as well. I've known him for quite a long time now, since kind of the birth of my channel. So always great to see him in action. Take him down to the 0. And Ludwig as well, I think making his debut on the channel. Some really cool performances overall, and some really wild builds that I don't get to see too often. So very well played to him as well. Always happy to have him back. So we have Red Legion on the left. And then we have Stormrunner on the right. It's quite funny, in my Discord, everyone has changed their names to some duck-based pun most of the time. So it's kind of confusing remembering who's who when it actually comes to inviting people and so forth. Hey, Storm. So it is Red Legion to pick. And ban first. And there we go. Come out, hang with you guys. The Hellstorm did nothing. It did damage, guys. I'm trying to pick it up. Don't come over here and try and downplay the beauty of the glorious Hellstorm. I mean, it fired all game. It got like 30 kills and did some splash damage, but yeah, it's not viable. It is definitely a meme. Pacta didn't make it. Unfortunately, Pacta never makes it. It's really sad. Yeah, Sunmaker is a lot better. Like, Sunmaker is kind of viable against High Elves, but apart from that, yeah, they're not too good, unfortunately. The Wagoner hasn't been rolling. That's what I mean. The Wagon needed to get a bit more aggressive and get into the back line and really start running over troops as quickly as possible. Volkamar's unbreakable. You don't have to be too careful with him. Just chuck him forward and delete stuff. That's what you need to be doing with him. Basically work him as a giant slow-moving chariot. Cool. Yes, GG's. Nice to see. Sunmaker can be decent to just unload his ammo really fast, and it has decent accuracy. Yeah, basically, Palpatine, I agree with your talk there. Do the duck pun names for the final. Oh, God. Who is everyone's name? I know Stormrunner's Stormduck, which is quite easy to remember. Palpatine's name's pretty funny on the Discord because it's ridiculous. It's like Duckletine or something. I beat Wicked once, taken 2 Hellstorms. I don't know if I've ever been able to beat Wicked. I've only played him like once or twice, but he's certainly run me over quite a bit. Can't wait for the Plague of Rust. Like, all the new Laws of Magic for the High Elves are going to be super potent. I'm actually quite excited to play some High Elves and Greenskins. What I'm probably going to do on release is, we'll host some, like, tournaments and stuff, but I might do some live streams where I simply just play Greenskins and then just play High Elves in, like, a Come At Me Bros series or something along those lines. We're also going to do an Imric, the Dragon Prince campaign, and then hopefully a head-to-head campaign against someone as well, with Grom and the Warden. Felt like the Empire Knights held my Dragon Princes forever. That's the problem with Dragon Princes. Their damage output's not fantastic. At like taking down large creatures, or even breaking through armor that quickly. Like, they'll win the engagement comfortably, but it takes them a long time, which is a real problem. So some of the new units and abilities are certainly going to help them out. So it's like Red Legion is going High Elves, banning Greenskins and Skaven, and Stormrunner going Dark Elves. So a bit of a elf-on-elf violence. The Dragon Prince guy is amazing. Imric, I love Imric. So I used to like Imric as a kid. I actually had the model way back in the day, before I really knew kind of how to build anything and so forth. Like, properly, I was just a little kid, so I bought the model. It was completely metal, so my dad helped me make it, and I loved Imric back then. I loved the lore, everything about him, just the Prince of Dragons. It's such a cool story. And the fact he's in his game, I'm definitely going to be bringing him and certainly doing a campaign with him. He looks very powerful. I'm not sure if he's going to be more powerful than the Warden, simply because the Warden up in the skies with high magic he's going to win the air game regardless of what you do. You just can't beat that. He's a decent melee combatant and he has Tempest. Like, it's going to be pretty disgusting. But yeah, Imric looks beautiful. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, so if you watch Loremaster Sotek's video, I actually think Imric looks more badass on his steed. He has a special Dragon Prince mount, as in like the Dragon Prince horse, and he looks so cool. He also gains anti-large there, but at the same time, you know, he has like the biggest star dragon alive or something, so that equally looks very cool. Alright guys, hope you are enjoying the stream. If you are, please do give it a big old thumbs up, certainly helps out, as we are slowly making our way to 500 subs. I'm going to have to think of something special to do. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it by the DLC to that level, but at the same time, I'm sure we can think of something good and fun to do. Oh, Farin and Emmerich are really cool. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of the new units are very cool. Like, CA, again, so good at designing models. So good. I was watching it, just like a big smile on my face throughout kind of all the analysis of like Turin's channel and stuff I was watching, and I can't wait to some of my other favourite factions get DLCs. With the way they're doing them now, it's so good. I just can't wait for a Wood Elf DLC. I think it's going to be pretty good fun. I want to see new Dowie units. It's just... It literally is my childhood come to life, which is so good. Much more than Grom. I kind of think Grom might have the best model in the game, simply because he's that little goblin who comes down and like gets some meat out of a sack and he like devours it. But I'm certainly excited to use Grom. I'm probably not as good with the greenskins, and I always get chariots killed because my micro's not good enough, but he seems like he could be some good fun. Ready when you are, man. Awesome. And don't worry, guys, as well, this is a Death Before Dishonour Qualifier 2, but we are going to have a number 3 and 4, and number 3 is going to be open to as many people as possible once again. Unfortunately, it does have to start earlier in the day that way, so obviously people can only play in the evenings, can play in Qualifiers 2 and 4. Hopefully we'll get you on the channel, El Hakone, as well. Great to see you back as well. I think you've played in King of the Hill, I believe. Which is always some good fun. I need to bring the King of the Hills back. It's just we've been doing a lot of clan wars and stuff recently, so it's been a little bit hard. Looks like they're ready. Let's get this one cracking. Also, Idol is probably the coolest unit in the game. I've only seen little bits. As I've said, I've kind of watched 1 or 2 of Turin's videos, 1 or 2 of Lord Martyr Sotex, and I think that's it. But where he like lifts up his head above his body and looks around, it is so good. I do feel like miners should get a secret buff against him, because it's literally their job to mine rock. So they should get like, I don't know, plus 100% weapon strength or something when trying to bring him down. But he does look incredibly cool. Imric fully kitted on a horse is like 2,000 gold. Ugh. That's the problem. So a lot of people overestimate how good stuff's going to be. I remember when everyone thought Nakai was going to be a god of war. And a lot of the high elf stuff, yes, it's very good, and it's insanely powerful, but as always with high elves, and almost all elves, it's insanely expensive, so always outnumbered, and it certainly makes it a lot more balanced. Anyway, without further ado, let's hop in here and look at Red Legion's Forces of High Elves. In the front line, we have Cheap and Cheerful Spearmen. 4 units of those guys going to be holding the line. Looks like they are chevroned up a little bit, so at least give them a bit more protection. With a couple units of Lothar and Seagull in the back, these guys allow you to have a little bit less micro, because they do some decent shooting, but unlike archers, they can hold their own in combat, at least for a limited amount of time. Looks like we have double Illyrian Reaver Archers, a unit that I do use occasionally when fighting Empire to deal with Outriders and so forth, but you don't get to see them terribly often. They're going to be rolling dirty with a couple of Dragon Princes. They've heard all this talk of Imric, and they're trying to make him as proud as possible. So we have double Dragon Princes. We have double Flamesfire Phoenix up in the skies, as well as Alario the Radiant, which you would expect when coming with these single entities. Alario the Radiant is, of course, going to be bringing Star of Avalon, Shield of Thorns, and Earthblood, and Tempest, which is going to be disgustingly good up against Loki Felheart, it looks like, which is some pretty good fun. So actually, that looks like it's pretty much the build, so very, very simple. Pretty light on the force on the ground, but heavy cav and a heavy goon squad up in the skies. Now, for the forces of the Dark Elves, we're certainly going to have an air battle here. In his front lines for Stormrunner, we have Dreadspears dotted all the way along. On either flank, we have Dark Riders with crossbows, who are going to be really key to helping bring down some of these large targets. Snatchers Harvesters as well, which are Regiment Round Doomfire Warlocks in the back, one of the best units in the game for their cost and so forth. They're just so good. A couple of Dark Shards as well with shields. In the front line to help break through, we do have a Death Hag on foot. And then in the skies, we have the Crows of Cain, Regiment Round Harpies, 1 normal unit of Harpies, Lokir Felheart, a guy you don't get to see too often, but I have heard that Stormrunner does like to bring him quite a bit. He's a very good melee combatant, deadly onslaught, dreaded duelist, all that good stuff. Of course, he comes with the replenishment to hit points. And we also have a Sorceress of Shadows coming in with Melkov's Mystified and Miasma. Wait, no, is that right? I always doubt myself on this. Yes, of course it is. Melkov's, Enfeeble Info, and the Pendulum. This is going to be interesting. It is a battle of the air game here. Tempest probably going to swing it in the High favour. Flamesfire Phoenix as well, pretty good at dueling, but at the same time, Loki can beat the crap out of any of these guys one-on-one. He's going to have some help from Harpies as well, and that Shadow Magic can really help buff him up in key engagements. So unfortunately, it does look a little bit laggy here, but we'll see if it subsides. And let these guys get underway. Who is your money on? Tyrion is almost 2,600. I played the King of Hill. It was super cool. Well, I'll probably try and get one back next week or the week after. We'll try and do some King of the Hills. I'm not saying nerf Imrik per se. I'm saying buff Nakai. Yeah, Nakai needs buffing. I don't know if they've changed Nakai, or they're going to be changing him in the patch. We'll have to wait and see. Battle is underway. Looks like the lag has subsided. You can often tell by looking at the wings of creatures and see how they're flapping. Looks like we're having a little bit of problems. We'll have to get this going and see how it works. They played Red Legion yesterday, and we had 1 or 2 problems, but for the most part, the internet connection was stable. Oh, of course, though, don't know which country these guys are from, and connecting people across the world can be a little bit tricky sometimes. The forces do start to advance. Come on, guys, I believe in your computers. Do not potato. Looks like... okay, there we go. Looks like it is sorting itself out as we go, which does sometimes happen with Total War games. And yeah, Dark Riders and Sessions Harvesters going to be moving down the right-hand flank. And the Illyrian Reaver Archers, it's going to be interesting to see how well they do against Dark Riders. They're certainly losing 1-on-1, but they're going to be able to do some quite nice pressure. And they do have Dragon Princes for support as well. Although it looks like Loki Felhart going to float over to this side and say hello. Looks like, oh god, the Crows of Cain take quite a nasty volley there, actually taking a few losses, as a few of those Harpies do, unfortunately, swivel down to the ground and flap their wings in defeat, as the front line is going to be such a bad front line. Dread Spears versus Spearmen is going to be incredibly boring, but, you know, the real fight is, of course, going to be up in the air. Tempest could cause huge problems for Loki here. He definitely doesn't want to have his Sorcerer too close to him, because a 2-for-1 there could be very deadly. Looks like some arrows were baited out, although they are going to instead be going after the Dread Spears in the front line, trying to soften them up to allow the Spearmen to really, you know, pack a punch and deal with them quite quickly. Come on, guys. I believe in your connections. Don't crash. We can get some nice slow thematic shots here. Dread Spears do go up against Spearmen in a horrifying combat of wet noodles versus damp lettuces here. Not too bad. It looks like the Goon squad is being a little bit defensive here. I'd probably push forward slightly more aggressive, try and break onto his back line, or push off Loki Felhart. I suppose there are Dark Riders around, which can be a little bit scary, although this one unit has been picked on by double Illyrian Reaver Archers, and they're certainly going to be losing this engagement so far, as Dragon Princes stream forward as well to get in a nice charge. We do have some kind of nasty magic come down here. I'm assuming a pendulum, and a big pendulum coming down that front line. That is pretty disgusting. Didn't do too much damage to the Dragon Princes, but those poor Spearmen got absolutely annihilated. Looks like there's a Goonin attempt on the Death Hag here, who's trying her little best, but up against double Flaming Phoenixes plus Alarielle, she is not going to last more than a couple of seconds. She's trying to fall back through her Dread Spears. Loki coming in for the dreaded duel here. We're popping in, and the Melkov's Mystified Miasma has been popped down, so these guys cannot escape. But in retaliation, a Star of Avalon is popped. Harpies are coming crowded in as well. And this is a huge engagement here. Dark Shards can probably fire in and assist in the back line. It looks like Crows of the Cain do pop on top of the Dragon Princes, trying to stop them from getting into the combat. Really nice play overall there by Stormrunner. And the Phoenixes are suffering pretty damn bad here, as well as Alarielle. Even with all the healing from the Star of Avalon, these guys have taken an absolute walloping here from Loki Felhart. He's doing some really decent damage. Unfortunately, all his supporting units are starting to break. There's some very healthy Dragon Princes in here with Shield of Thorns popped down. Loki probably wants to fall back here. It's tough to say. The Death Hag didn't take too much damage. She's certainly assisting. Another glorious Pendulum coming down on top of these Spearmen, getting some really good value from that Shadow Mage so far. As for the rest of the battle, it looks like it's pretty tit for tat as it goes. Dark Elves winning the front line, but the skirmish game a little bit more even. But back to the main blob fight. Alara has fallen off it, and now Stormrunner needs to take the Sorcerer and just hunt down Alarielle, pop on her tail, and do not let her come back. And then that disengagement will be beautiful for him, as the Flamespire Phoenix is also starting to rout as well. Loki is an absolute beast here. He is the dreaded duelist, hunting down Dragon Princes now as he forces off the Flamespire Phoenix. So Alarielle's certainly going to be gone here, but at the same time, the High Elves still have a decent amount of units dotted around the field. Dragon Princes need to force their way back on top of the Dark Shards. These guys being allowed to fight all game is pretty scary, as well as the double Dark Riders did manage to survive that, as the Illyrian Reaver Archers looped back up and around to try and help out in that main engagement. So poor Alarielle is going to be chased off here by the Sorcerers of Shadow. Now, these chasing animations in the air do sometimes get a little bit annoying, because even though they're this close, I swear sometimes they just rally for no apparent reason. So you've got to be a little bit careful of that, as the Sorceress will get beaten up if she does rally. Flamespire Phoenix desperately trying to get back to save her Liege Lord, as the Elf Phoenix also takes a bit of a pounding. Now, without the healing, I don't think there's any way back into this game for the High Elves. But if they can get Alara back in, heal up those Flamespire Phoenixes, and maybe goon out Loki, or at least shut down the back line, they could certainly be in with a shout. Dragon Princes up to 90 kills, doing pretty good for themselves. Hop into the backline on top of the Dark Shards, but Loki is just hunting them down, devouring Dragon Prince after Dragon Prince. He's going to be very, very full indeed. And it looks like the Shadow Sorceress did manage to chase off Alarielle, which is probably going to seal the fate here of the High Elves. The Sorceress needs to now run away from this Flameside Phoenix. There's no point fighting it. It does have 120 speed, which is pretty damn scary, up against the 105 of the Sorceress, but she can drop a Melkoff's on him to slow him down and perhaps escape. In the main engagement, it looks like it's all basically High Elf favoured now. Lothra and Seaguard slowly breaking in the centre. There are some Dragon Princes rallying on the edge here, but they're simply going to be kited into infinity by the Dark Riders. And Loki going to be healing up this entire time, looking very, very healthy indeed, with over 4,000 health. Dragon Princes are terrified, going to be running for the hills, and can be chased off by Harpies and so forth. Yeah, Balance Power has swooped in now to Army Lost range, and it looks like it is going to be game 1 to Stormrunner and the forces of the Dark Elves. Apologies about the lag there, guys, but it does happen. We'll hopefully be able to work next game. Freaking lag. Yeah, sorry, guys. It's so frustrating when this happens. I've played against both these guys before and been fine, so it's probably them connecting with each other, unfortunately. Nice play by both players. I quite like the Flying Goon squad. It's quite a fun build with Alarielle and the double Flamesfire Phoenixes. They didn't get aggressive enough and shut down the Dark Riders and the crossbows, and that allowed, when that main engagement did come in, Loki is a beast of a duelist. Managed to hold his line while the rest of his units piled in and did some pretty decent damage. GG. Cool. Let's go Pillar of... we should just did quite a big map. Let us go Glacial Lake. I'll update the scoreboard. So Stormrunner is 1 up there. Let's see how this next one goes. Hopefully we'll have to judge the lag and try and find out which player it is. Tempest should go on the Harpies. It can do some decent job. It would one-shot them. Yeah, Tempest is such a good ability in my opinion. It looks like at one point as well he could have caught the Sorceress plus Loki at the same time, which would have been pretty good value. Are those shielded Dark Shards? I believe they were. I believe they were indeed. Storm has this now. Yeah, it was literally as soon as Alarielle broke, there was no chance for the High Elves, especially when she got escorted away. If she had somehow managed to rally, heal up her key units, perhaps there was a chance. But yeah, very good play by both players overall. But that Loki, man, what a beast. I always forget how good he is in combat because you never really see him, simply because Malekith and Marathi are so much more competitive. Storm to pick and double ban. No, Glacial Lake is the map. Let's check Discord. So I've just got a message on there. Make sure it's nothing important. Hey, what is happening? Dun, dun, dun. Looks like we're all good. Hopefully these streamers are all up and running still. It should be. I have nightmares after my stream the other day dropped out. Okay, it looks like we're all good. Looks like Stormrunner is going greenskins, banning counts and coast. So we've seen some pretty awesome picks here so far. Love to see the greenskins in action. Yeah, I get absolute nightmares after my last stream just collapsed. Basically, I'm on Virgin Media, and during the whole virus problem, they're having quite a few problems with dealing with their internet. Like the majority of the time, it's the best internet we can get in London. It's really good. I basically never have too many lag problems at all, but occasionally the whole system is just completely crashing at the moment and going down for like hours. It's a nightmare. But it looks like we're all good. Sometimes get lag playing Storm for some reason. I don't know which country he's from. It might be more of a distance situation than his actual internet, but we'll see how it goes. If it lags bad in this one and he makes the final and it lags bad then as well, we might end up having to replace him, which would kind of suck. But we'll see how it goes. I know we'll have some hungry people in the chat who want to play. Dun, dun, dun. Cool, cool. Sorry, some messages on Darv's Discord. Looks like his monitor broke, but he's got a new one, which is all good to see. I love Darv's channel. It's really good. He's actually one of my favourite Towa YouTubers at the moment to kind of watch their content. Been binging a lot of his stuff, as I always do. Go lizard men! Lizards! 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 Unfortunately, we don't have any lizard men. It's very sad. You're UK Stormrunner. Okay, okay. Yes, if I was Storm from the end of the UK, he is. Don't know what it is then. Don't know what it is. It might just simply be his connection to Red Legion. But we've had both these guys on the channel before. Actually, I think Red Legion might be making his debut, but I've played him before with no lag problems. It like dropped out at one point and then came back and was fine for the rest of the games. And of course, Stormrunner is a veteran on the channel anyway. Red Legion, I know, is an Empire main, so he's bringing up his best faction here, trying his best. Empire versus Greenskins is pretty damn fun. I think you get some pretty good charges coming down from the cavalry of the Empire, which may be changing soon with some of the new units coming in for the Greenskins. Alongside all the new beautiful releases, there's been a lot of changes, balance changes to units. Of course, the war mechanic has changed, but Orc, Boar, Boy, Bigguns, which is always a mouthful to say, have had a massive boost in armour, making them much more viable to counter, you know, Empire Cav and all that kind of good stuff. Legion is US, I think. Oh, okay, that could be the problem. Connecting between the two. Good to see you guys all in chat, though. Hope you're enjoying the stream. We may... I'm really in debate about moving Death Before Dishonour completely to the open format, like last week, where we can have as many players as possible. I feel like it's slightly unfair on people who can only play evenings, but it does allow so many more people in. Because every time I do host a tournament, I get kind of spammed with messages saying, hey man, is there still space, or can I enter? And I feel really bad having to tell people that kind of we're all up. But there's only so many we can have, I suppose. But then again, yeah, there's always another tournament. I do host them weekly, so it's all good. Darth Pendragon and Ronan, two mighty opponents. Is anyone here playing in Noob for Life's tournament, by the way? It's really good fun. I haven't played in some tournaments for quite a long time, but because it's a group stage situation, I've got quite a busy schedule, but because it's groups is played over kind of a couple of weeks, I can just hop in and play when we want. I'm very excited. I think I've qualified through the first round. I'm not sure if it's knockouts after that. Noob for Life, if you're in chat, could you let me know? I don't know how it works after that stage. I still have one game left to play, but I don't think I can kind of fail to make top 2 in the group now. Stormrunner, oh, I tend to have bad connection to US. Ah, okay. That would explain it. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't fantastic, unfortunately. Awesome games, Noob for Life. Yeah, he played really well. Noob for Life always does. He's improved considerably since I first started out YouTube. I mean, he was good back then, but he's certainly got very good now. Cool, well, these guys are set up. I'm just going to double check my Discord quick, make sure we're all good, and double check that the scoreboard is all up correctly. Yep, Stormrunner 1-0, which is good to see. Let's hop back in here. Just chill out with you guys for a while. Forge Hammer. Next stage is round robin as well. Okay, thank you, Noob for Life. I was wondering because it looked like it, but someone else had told me it was knockouts, or last time it had been knockouts or something. No groups, but all the finalists play each other. Oh, okay. And it's just whoever gets the most points, I assume. That's cool. It means I get to play a lot of people. I get to play Palpatine. Yes. I was hoping to get to face him. And looks like we will get to face off. Looks like Stormrunner is indeed ready. Just waiting on the boy Red Legion now, representing the Extreme Meme team. Bit of a XMT DBD war here. We did actually have a clan war with them not too long ago up on the channel, which is some really good fun. And we have another one tomorrow, but it is up against RTK. And here we go. Glacial Lake, nice close quarters map, no cover to hide behind. There's a big hole in the middle, which some people find that it shouldn't be a competitive map because you can technically kind of corner camp here if you want. I've seen sometimes Dowie forming a little box around here like a flame cannon in between and flame shooting shots over top. But I think it's quite a fun map. It gets, you know, blood and thunder affair. Combat gets underway very, very quickly. I've never been into the final round. No! You'll get your time, Geese Howard, man. You're a good player, dude. you played a fantastic Beastman game on the channel the other day, which was some of the best Beastmen play I've seen up against Wood Elves. Anyway, enough ramblings from myself. Let's get in here and check out the build. So the Boyd Red Legion bringing his favourite empire here, trying to get back into this series. This does have double Outriders here. Looks like just the standard variety, though no grenade launchers. I'm a huge fan of grenade launchers personally. He has triple Empire Knights. Everyone's seeming to love the Empire Knights so far today. These guys can certainly do some decent damage overall. In the front line, we have Spearmen, and... oh, no. Just Spearmen. Looks like we've got lag still, unfortunately. No! It's so frustrating. But we have a load of swordsmen with Sigma Suns as well in the front line. These guys are chevroned up. Should be able to cleave through greenskins relatively effectively. It looks like we do have a Great Cannon and a Great Cannon. So 2 Great Cannons. So Spearmen to protect them. Gotrek is rocking alongside an Amber Wizard here. It's pretty cool to see this guy. So Gotrek, absolute beast, of course. Looks like he's brought most of his buffs as well. We do have the Death Blow and Heroic Fortitude. Okay, so he hasn't brought his axe or anything. We have an Amber Wizard with the Manticore Summon, which is the most competitive pick. Or not the most competitive, but it is a competitive pick. Manticore is just such good value. Summons are really disgusting. And we do have Volkmar the Grim as well. Getting a lot of action and love this stream. But really fun build overall. Great Cannon's going to be doing some long range damage to any large threats. And Volkmar should be able to run over the rest of the greenskins. Now, for the forces of Stormrunner here, doesn't look like he's brought any of the big boys. Instead, he has Nasty Skulkers on their flank, Night Goblins all across the front line. Night Goblins Fanatics actually do a serious amount of damage. I didn't quite realise how good they were. It's just they're hard to aim. But with the new patch, you can actually aim them from a short distance. So you can engage the front line and then release Fanatics into the archer line, and it is very powerful but micro-intensive. We have Savage Orcs in the centre pocket, flanked by Goblin Wolf Riders, and then a gun line of Orc Arrowboys, Durassi Arrows, and more Orc Arrowboys, and a huge Cav contingent, Orc Boar Boy Biggins, 1, 2, 3 of them, including the Broken Tusk mob. These guys all getting a nice big buff in the latest patch, but of course this is, I don't get early access unfortunately, because they don't like ducks. Now, of course, the bigger channels are the ones who get the early access. So these guys, unfortunately, going to be still a bit wet noodle. They're not too powerful at all, but it'd be interesting to see how they're used. Goblin Big Boss as well going to be accompanying them, along as Wurzag as well, riding his boar. Looking very cool and thematic here. Look at him with his big old boar, with all of his lads here, looking fantastic. And he is, of course, going to be bringing Effigy of the Git. Very, very powerful. Get back here. Foot of Gork. Oh, this is going to be so glorious. Here we go. Edbutt and Fist of Gork. Should be some good fun. It's going to be interesting to see how they manage to pull it off. Night Goblin Shaman is also bringing Sneaky Stabbins and the Wand. Interesting. Normally you see him with Vindictive Glare if you see him kind of pack just one unit. One spell, sorry. Looks like Stormrunner is ready. So honestly, Stormrunner brings the weirdest builds, but he makes them work. This Empire army looks like it has its work cut out for it. I mean, it's going to be interesting. The Great Cannons don't have too many great targets. They can pound down these Orc Boar Boys relatively effectively. But apart from that, they don't have, there's no Giants or Ragnarok Spiders to really pick on. But at the same time, Volkmar the Grim can roll over half of this army very comfortably. He could get pinned in by the Orc Boar Boy Biggins and then shot down by the Archers. It depends how defensive he plays with Volkmar. So I do know that Red Legion loves to play very aggressive with his Volkmar, however. And sometimes that can work and sometimes it can't. So, come on, lads. If the lag does stay this bad, we will have to consider switching people around if it goes to third game, but we'll see. We'll see. Goblin Wolf Riders are going to be coming out to the flanks. They really don't want to engage with Empire Knights. Empire Knights will run them over quite comfortably. These nasty skulkers on the left side as well have probably been noticed. But at the same time, Outriders don't really want to waste their bullets into them. They don't have too many good targets apart from the Orc Boar Boys. Was like taking a few shots as well, cannon bolts to the face. And there's a big old distance here between the front line and the secondary line, which is often advised. You don't want the main fight to be really close to your back line. But there is a huge distance here. And if any of the greenskins can swoop around the flank, there's only Empire Knights and one unit of Spearmen back here protecting, which can very comfortably be run over. An early war here as well will allow these swordsmen to get destroyed quite quickly, especially by these savage orcs. So the Empire certainly going to have their work cut out. Their Knights and Volkmar are really going to have to carry. Glorious Fanatics are coming into play here. Looks like they disappeared quite quickly, unfortunately. And if the war goes off now, it's going to be so deadly as savage orcs do start tearing apart swordsmen very effectively. The rest of his army does start to move up here. Looks like on the far flanks, Outriders have been allowed to be caught by Goblin Wolf Riders, which is pretty disastrous from them, but Empire Knights have counter-charged, so they should be able to clean them up. And in the left flank, I would wrap these Goblin Wolf Riders up and around and start putting pressure on these cannons, and at least make Red Legion think about it and stress his micro as much as possible. Outriders unleashing shots into Goblin Wolf Riders, but at the same time, you know, it's not going to be the most value here. Orc Boar Boy Biggins just lurking in the back lines for now. Looks like they're all overwhelming one unit of Spearmen. And the war has been popped. Now these Savage Orcs are simply going to slaughter Swordsmen all the way across the front line. We're going to see some glorious action as these boys start getting to hacking. You can see blood and bones flinging up all over the place, and most of it seems to be limbs of these poor swordsmen here. Gojek has forced his way into the front line, and I do hear a Feral Manticore summon. However, the Amber Wizard is quite in the back line, so it's going to be seen from a long way away, and that will allow Stormrunner to, you know, adjust his forces as needed. Goblin Wolf Riders are now launching their way around the flank. Look how quick they are with that speed bonus from the War, up to 114 speed. Those guys are Usain bolting it around this flank here, looking glorious. I love the Wolves as they're going to hop back and easily start to shut down these great cannons. Nasty Skulkers have overloaded one flank as well, and the Greenskin War is overwhelming the Empire here. However, Volkmar, in the face of such enemies, is holding the line pretty effectively, and this is an old school tactic which has worked for years. You get the summon Feral Manticore and you snipe out the Greenskins Warlords. They're pretty squishy indeed. Here we go, has been popped on him, as well as sneaky stabbings, but I still don't think he wants to duel this. I'd rather pop those buffs on the Goblin Big Boss as much as possible and use his mass to protect Wurzag, as it looks like Gotrek's getting in here as well. Wurzag needs to flee. This could cost Stormrunner the game. If he gets pinned in by all these units, he is completely done for. And he's taken an absolute pounding, and it looks like the the problem with Greenskin Lords is coming back to bite them, and he does instantly start to break, almost completely destroyed there in one go, which is going to swing this game in favour of the Empire after the Greenskins were in a very dominant position. Looks like in the back line. Oh, come on, guys. I'll have to make sure next time these guys don't face each other in a tournament. Oh. Let's get rid of that. Goblin Wolf Riders are unfortunately being destroyed here by Empire Knights. And Great Cannons still both active, although some Nasty Skulls are starting to get into the back lines. The Spearmen need to push forward and protect them. It looks like they are just doing that. Now Riders can come around and even get some nice rear charges into the Nasty Skull, because they've got very low leadership. They should be able to push them through quite comfortably. Now the front line has been completely and utterly decimated by the Greenskins, slaying the Swordsmen very easily. They're going to be able to overwhelm the back line. However, the Manticore summons Volkmar, it's going to be pretty tough, especially if all the Orc Boar Boys are starting to flee the field. And Greenskins notoriously terrible leadership. With Wurzag being sniped, plus the Night Goblin Shaman, it's going to be really tough for the Greenskins to get back into this game now. They have managed to overload the back slightly, but Empire Knights are coming in. A nice smoke bomb here from the sneaky stabbing Stalkers here can certainly do some decent work. It looks like they have managed to get on top of the Great Cannon, but there's just too many men of the Empire back here protecting. Outriders unleashing a few shots as well. Not doing too bad. Unfortunately, Goblin Big Boss does start to flee, and they really need this leadership on the field. Red Legion should take his Empire Knights and just hunt this guy down as much as possible. Still a decent amount of archers online, and Volkmar is starting to get a little bit low, lost just over a third of his health here. And the Savage Orcs, I'd also ignore the big blob fight, push back and destroy all of this. Get rid of both the Great Cannons, get rid of the Spearmen, and then deal with Volkmar at the end. Looks like the second Manticore summon is coming down now as well. Going to be trying to push that balance of power over the edge here. In comes the Savage Orcs. Wow, for the lads! I'm going to come in here and hacking at Volkmar as much as possible, trying to drag him down, but Gotrek incredibly healthy as well. With all the terror on the field and the lack of leadership, this game's certainly going to go to the Empire in my opinion. Balance power nearly pushing over to army losses here. And we will see. Orc Boar Boy Biggins does become charging back in, but there's just simply no way. Honestly, the entire game was Greenskin favour up until that snipe, unfortunately. 4 spells is a bit much. Yeah, I tend to bring 3 spells for the most part. But, yeah, apologies about the lag, guys. We've only got one more game of it. If whoever makes it to the final also lags, we will replace them, I'm afraid. Simply because it's not worth watching, you know, if it is that laggy. Volkmar overall did his bit, did some pretty decent work overall, as well as Gotrek, but in reality, the thing that won him the game was this Amber Wizard and that Manticore summon, gobbling up Wurzag very quickly, taking away any opportunity for a second war, and all his magic, as the Night Goblin Shaman and Wurzag both got eaten at the same time, and his army completely broke. I'm actually quite a big fan of this army. It was pretty good fun, and it completely crumped that front line, but really did suffer from a Lord Snipe. send me blind pics on Steam, on my Discord. And we're going to be playing on Public Bone. Go Trick OP! Go Trick OP confirmed! Let's update the scoreboard quickly. Red Legion, boop. 1-1. So who will make it to the final to face the mighty Noob for Life? We will have to see. And, boop. Cool. Let's pray to the internet gods. These guys managed to sort it out. Good fun indeed. Ooh. I'm not sure who they're going to play. I feel like Stormrunner can play 1 or 2 factions. I've seen him play quite a lot. Hopefully someone brings Lizardmen. Red Legion, though, definitely his favourite faction is the Empire, and he starts to experiment with other troops as well. He's played High Elves already, I believe, so that's his 2 factions he played against me with. And let's see, blind picks are awesome. So I have Storms, and Red Legion just sending it to me now. Oh, Red Legion is your boy Noob for Life. He says, for Noob for Life, I'm going Lizardmen. So this is a rough matchup for Stormrunner. It's Lizardmen versus Chaos. Lizardmen notoriously good against Chaos. Although, I think the Chaos can do a few things. It used to devolve down to a Temple Guard Doombox and Croak. People have learned to deal with Croak, so he's nowhere near as powerful as he was. Plus, he gets slightly nerfed. And the Chaos tended to struggle to deal with that. They can't really go Monster Mash. They can go Monster Mash against Lizardmen, but it's a pretty rough fight overall. Consoles are just so goddamn effective. What I like to do personally as Lizardmen, though, is bring a ton of Salamanders and Razordons and play the kite game and try and pull the Chaos apart. But at the same time, Chaos can go cheap and cheerful with Marauders and hunt you down in that aspect, so it really is a little bit of a dice roll on what you bring. But yes, Lizardmen being represented at last as we go into this final game of the second semi-final. Once again, guys, sorry for the lag. It does happen when guys are connecting. It seems like Storm said he does struggle when he's connecting to people in the US, which is understandable. It's quite a long way away, so we will see. I have a sip of my drink to keep me alive. That is all good. Dun dun dun. Check Discord. Looks like there's no questions or anything. And bam, we are back. Whoa. Finally, the old ones be praised. Indeed. I love Lizardmen, man. They're such a good faction. I feel, speaking to A-Move, I felt really bad because of all the new DLC stuff coming out that his Dowie going to get stomped on. And he told me he's just going to have to become a Lizardman main, which I am not sad about. Because I think he's a great player and I love watching his Lizardman builds. He brings some of the craziest stuff. So can Red Legion keep this momentum going and take down Stormrunner? Is Stormrunner Chaos going to corrupt and destroy the Old One's plan? We'll have to wait and see on the next episode of Pillar of Bone. Which is a pretty cool map. It's pretty open and wide for the most part. There's a big nice dip in it as well. But there are some trees as well for sneaky stabbings and some hills for defensive approach. It'll be interesting to see if Stormrunner does in fact bring a Hell Cannon here, which does huge work of course up against Temple Guard, Saurus Warriors and all that tasty stuff. You could go Hell Cannon, loads of Halberd units and some big bad monsters. I wouldn't mind seeing a Chaos Sorcerer Lord on Dragon. I think could be pretty decent in this matchup. But at the same time, Lizardmen are so versatile. They can go for the air game here, they can go for the skirmish game with all the hunting packs, or they can go rock hard. Go with the Temple Guard, get big old Lord Croak in there, and ride dirty through the enemy forces in an ultimate grind game. So much potential, so many possibilities. We are, of course, playing Warhammer Cup rules as well today. So anyone joining late, this is the second semi-final. Noob for Life taking down Ludwig 2-0 in the first best of 3 semi-final. It's some really good games though. Ludwig certainly did perform well for himself. No shame to going out to Noob for Life. And in this game, we do have Red Legion versus Stormrunner 1-1. We're almost ready. So it looks like Storm is ready and Red Legion incredibly close. Oh, can just hear the glorious music in the background. I really hope they bring in the trailer music for pretty much all of their trailers that Total War have done for the DLCs and bring them into the game. They're so good. The latest one absolutely bangs. I just wish they brought it in, at least into campaign. Some of the new campaign units look pretty cool as well. This reminds me, I need to order the DLC. I actually haven't pre-ordered it yet. For those who don't know, it is 10% off right now if you order. Is this paid for by Kroak? You've got to love Kroak. I know people don't bring him anymore because he's nowhere near as powerful, but it's the boy. It's Kroak. He's such a cool character in lore. Unfortunately, you can't really represent him fully on in-game as he is in lore, because he would literally like clap his hands and this entire Chaos Force would instantly melt and die. But he's definitely the most powerful character in my opinion in Warhammer. In Warhammer lore. I mean, to be honest, most of the Lizardmen characters are, and that's why they have to be kept out of most of the stories, as they were brought in a little bit later to some of the other factions, and they wanted to make them powerful, but of course they couldn't have played a part in most of the big events up to that point, so they had to be kind of very powerful, but all behind the scenes. You know, they were scheming, they helped the elves with the Vortex. The elves actually failed in the Vortex whilst creating it, so the Slann basically fixed it up and helped them out. I'm not sure if the High Elves are aware the Lizardmen do that. They certainly take all the credit for it, which is a very high elf kind of thing to do. And of course, you know, Lizardmen always end up kind of being the saviours of the world, fighting chaos and so forth. I wish the spells weren't so easy to dodge. Yeah, I mean, I think if they were as powerful as they were before, it's fine, because if you don't dodge them, then they really hurt. But yeah, Kroak's not the best pick, but I still love him. I still bring him now and again as a wild pick, as it kind of freaks people out and at least stresses their micro. Look at this! It's glorious! Oh, Red Legion, like, what a man, what a geezer. Bring in Lord Kroak. We're going to screw the rest of the army. This is what we're all about. We have Lord Kroak, of course, come with his ultimate shield with the Odins, which is such good value, 44% damage resistance. Does, of course, have all his deliverances of pizza. But he is rolling dirty with Nakai the Wanderer here, two legendary Lizardmen warriors. Nakai going to be bringing, looks like, a couple of his spells here. We do have Primal Roar and Miasma of Despair. What a hero core. For his front line, he has had to go pretty elite, actually. He has 3 units of Temple Guard and 2 units of the Red-Crested Skinks. Very solid front line indeed. A couple of Skink Skirmishers, nowhere near as powerful as the Chameleon Skink Brethren, but still, they can do some hurt and hopefully fend off some Lord of Horsemasters and so forth. And then we have triple Razordon Hunting Pack. So I'd like to have seen one Salamander in here to help deal with some of the large threats, but these guys certainly have some decent armor-piercing attacks, and Spiky Doggos are always a win in my books. Just look at them, he's just so excited to get into battle and start crumping some Warriors of Chaos. So overall, a pretty small build indeed, just 659 troops, but a deadly build. I quite like it. And the Kai as well, always good to see. Now, for the Forces of Chaos and Stormrunner, it looks like we have Chaos Marauders in the front line who are really going to struggle here. They're going to get their absolute crap kicked out of them by these Temple Guard. They will be able to surround, hop on top of these Skinks, and also get some nice chasers on the Razordons. In the secondary line, we have Forsaken, and the Demon Spirit, renowned Forsaken. These guys, interesting to see how they do perform up against Temple Guard. They're huge damage dealers, but Temple Guard are incredibly resolute and will hold the line for a long time. It looks like we do also have the Summoners of Rage rolling dirty with Kolek Sunny, so just an absolute champ here. The king of all Dragon Ogre Shagoths and so forth. Does come with Star Crusher, Stand or Die, and of course Lord of the Storm. He doth bring us to the storm. This is Beric Dondarrion in Chaos form. Looks like we have a Chaos Sorcerer Metal as well, coming in with Plague of Rust. Not Plague of Rust. What am I talking about? It is Plague of Rust. Minus 30 armor, Searing Doom, and Final Transmutation, which is going to be very powerful if you can pop on top of the right targets. We have a couple of Marauder Horsemen with thrown axes on the left flank, and a couple on the right flank. These guys are going to have to do some serious work, but if you drop Plague of Rust on top of some Temple Guard, get some axes in there, and get the Forsaken, I can certainly see them doing some pretty decent work. Lord of Kroak and Nakai, not even I could beam this hard. We will see. I certainly rate the Lizardmen chances here. It's going to be tough to protect the Razordons, but if they can fire back and do some decent damage to those Marauders and also help bring down the Summoner's Rage and Kolek. But triple Temple Guard basically counters everything in this build. I think the way Storm uses his magic is going to be very key. We're going to have to see some nice Plague of Rust coming down and helping the Forsaken destroy those guys. It's going to be a really interesting fight. Pure damage up against pure resolution of the Temple Guard. Look at these glorious boys doing their little roars. Look at them. So glorious. At least we get to see some slow motion action, I suppose. The Kai the Wanderer certainly going to get the absolute crap kicked out of him by Kolek Sunny, so he's going to get absolutely destroyed. But apart from that, if he gets on the front line, he will chew on Marauders very healthily. Good luck, have fun. Let us see. So the Skink Skirmishers are pushing forward now. Going to be trying their little best. Trying their little hearts out. And unfortunately, they don't really want to be in the front line here. Chaos Marauders with shields are going to eat those shots all day. These guys just want to do that consistent damage to Kolek probably, and hop on top of these Marauder Horsemen and try and keep them away from the Temple Guard and those other juicier targets. I can't wait to see some of these deliverances go down. Hopefully I catch them. Hopefully popping them probably on top of the Forsaken would be the best idea. The Doom and Spew, try and get rid of those guys as quickly as possible. So it looks like we have a police car going by outside. What's up, Doctor? Or Pacta, sorry. Hell's a Stoke for the next DLC. I will talk to you about that in a second, man. We actually had a nice little discussion about it earlier. But we are in the second semi-finals here. Unfortunately, we have a bit of a lagging matchup between Red Legion and Stormrunner, but we will see how this game goes. A few darts are going in, but just skinning the nips of these Chaos Marauders. They're going to love that. Not going to be doing too much damage. I suppose it slows them down, which, you know, lets these other ones to get a little bit overextended and advanced. But up come the Red Crested Skinks and the Temple Guard. And this frontline engagement is going to go so well here for the forces of the Lizmen. Of course, they also have the Supreme Shield. The old ones they can pop down. Let's see these guys in slow motion raise their axes in glorious Viking fashion, and the Temple Guard are going to crash into them and simply destroy these Chaos Marauders. I don't think they got a much better charge off. The Temple Guard seems to be more plodding forwards there, but you're going to see very quickly on these guys start to fall. However, really good play. Marauder Horsemen have upped and gone around this flank, and you can see that changes the tide of battle significantly here. Temple Guard being deleted, but the Razordons in the trees here, they're going to be coming back and forcing back the Marauder Horsemen. But really nice early play here by Stormrunner. His Red Crested Skinks do push through as well, although that unit is overextended. I would hop on top of them quickly with the Summoners of Rage. Looks like we do have one of the deliverances. It's a cast, but a little bit too early here in my opinion. These Demon Spews simply going to move forward and get in advance. So yeah, really should have dropped it here instead. So unfortunately, is it going to catch the size of these guys? Looks like that's surely too big distance. Yeah, too big distance. So unfortunately, first one is a swing and a miss. As Lord Croak goes balls deep, protecting the Kai here, who is currently surrounded by the Summoners of Rage and Kolek. And this is dangerous territory. However, there are Temple Guard here, and Demon Spew popping in as well. A lovely Plague of Rust coming down the Temple Guard can do huge work. And in comes a second deliverance of Itza here, so it looks like probably the medium one, I would assume. And this can do some really good work to the Demon Spew. Shield of the old ones is popped, and in it comes, and slow motion. The whole blade breath as long as possible. Boom. Okay, looks like that was just a small one, not doing too much damage. I always at least use the medium or the large one. I think it gets so much more value. In the back lines here, triple Razors have been all caught together with a big final transmutation coming on these guys, which is going to allow the Marauder Horsemen to engage them and drive them off very quickly. Some thrown axes are coming in as the Temple Guard slowly chew their way through Chaos Marauders in the front line. Forsaken as well, starting to struggle just a little bit. Mackay holding his ground as much as possible. Primal Roar has been popped here. Temple Guard going absolutely insane, trying to drag down Kolek as much as possible, but Starcrusher is active, and this has been pretty dangerous territory for the Lizmen. A very key engagement here. It looks like Chaos have managed to win the engagements elsewhere. Temple Guard did win their own, but they've been isolated, and it looks like Marauder Horsemen on both flanks are picking apart those Temple Guard. In the back line, that play possibly won the Chaos the game here, coming down with that final transmutation, forcing off the Razordons and allowing the Marauder Horsemen simply to chase these guys off is going to be such good value. And now Nakai does stand it alone with Krokgar as well, I suppose, but he is, he's sitting, not standing. Temple Guard starts to fall and break here. Kolek simply doing some nice cycle charges here, trying to whack Lord Croak as hard as possible, and he's getting the absolute essence of his soul beating the crap out of here, as Kolek comes in with some mighty clubs, and I think this is going to be a very quick game to Stormrunner. Very impressed. After I saw his build, I thought he was going to struggle a bit, but great maintenance of his magic and use of that combined with the Marauder Horsemasters has certainly won him this game here, and a quick victory for the mighty Stormrunner. Croak is a weird pick versus Chaos. He used to be like, you know, the dead cert pick against Chaos, but certainly now, yeah, I think it's a little bit different. Hope you're doing all good, Pacta, as well. Always good to see you in chat. Damn, Forsaken onto Skinks. He's sending Red Crested into Forsaken. I mean, that was a quick game. Chaos slaughtered their way through there. Very impressed by Stormrunner. Now, Stormrunner and New Flight did say they had some connection problems before, so they are going to be in the finals together, so we are going to monitor that. If it's too terrible, we will have to replace one of them, which is going to be really unfair to whoever it happens to, but we'll have to sort that out in some kind of random way, I'm afraid. But let's have a quick look here. So, good play by both players. I actually quite like Red Legion's build. It's quite old school. I'm bringing the Kai and Croak, trying to, represent the extreme meme team as much as possible and memeing. But he simply didn't have enough to protect the Razordons, and that is the problem here. There's no Knights to keep these guys alive and active. If they were allowed to fire all day, they can shred someone like Kolek to pieces, and he was held there for quite a while up against the Mighty Nakai and Lord Croak. If the Razordons were allowed to fire, Kolek surely would have fallen. But fantastic play with the Marauder Horseman, combined with the Chaos Sorcerer of Metal, was very deadly. I can't wait to see a Metal caster with the High Elves. It's going to be such a deadly combination. GG, well played. Cool, cool. So, New for Life, feel free to hop in a second. What's up, Poison Ducky? Hope you're all good, my brother. I had to meme. You had to do it. Very well played indeed. Now, let us go to a next map. We're going to try Blue Ridge River. See ya in chat. That Final Transmutation, yeah, that was such a good play. Final Transmutation coming down, breaking off the Razordons was really key, as they can shred a lot of the Chaos roster, but there just wasn't enough to protect them, I don't think. You need at least 1 or 2 Cold War Knights just to keep them active as long as possible. Let's invite the mighty Noob for Life, just another noob, which is a fantastic name, and pray to the internet gods that these guys can connect well. It's not their fault, of course. They might even have perfect internet. It's just obviously from the UK to America in this matchup. Good to see some Forsaken being used. Well, indeed, you don't get to see them at all, really. Which is a little bit sad. Yes, hope you're all good in the Hood Pack today. You did get in the semi-finals of the last Death Before Dishonour. It was really tough because there were so many players there. Played really good and went on a fantastic run. Hey, hey. So, I will flip a coin to see who goes first. Heads, it is going to be Noob. Tails, it is going to be Storm. Heads. So, Noob. Noob to pick and ban first. And this, of course, is a best of 5. So let's update the score quickly. So that was 2-1 to Stormrunner. Very impressive indeed. I'm going to drop him back down to 0 now. Otherwise, I'm sure Noob for Life wouldn't be too happy. And let's go here. Go Noob for Life. There should be a good one. These guys, 2 players who played a ton on the channel before in the past. This is always good. Always good to have like an old school rivalry. And let's pop back here. Yet again, alright, he's ready. He's ready for war. Have a little sip of my drink. Glorious. Glorious stuff indeed. Best of 5. Yarp. As a best of 5 finals. The boy Red Legion. How's it going, man? Well played, dude. A little unfortunate about the lag, but apart from that, man, some good games. Your snipe on Wurzag was really clutch in game 2. I think that game was going against you slightly, but you managed to drag it back there with a really nice snipe. It's always great to see. Always good stuff. And for those who don't know, I'm sure you guys watch my channel probably know this at this point, but Poison Ducky, who is in chat, does in fact have a YouTube channel, and it's very good. He has some awesome commentary on all things Total War, as well as sprinkling in 1 or 2 other games as well over the over the months and so forth. So I highly recommend going out after this stream, going and checking out his channel. He actually has a new video up today, which I have been watching. Some good fun. He is also going to be my doubles partner in a clan war tomorrow, which should be some good, all good stuff. So, New for Life bans Empire and Vam Pirates. Panicking a bit. I've done that before. You actually type in the wrong thing, and then you're like, no, this one. I just call them Coast. So, Norscans, love to see Norscan play. Since the Assassin's Creed trailer came out with all the Vikings, I've been playing Norscans at quite a large amount. Norscans with a Shadowcast, I think, can do some huge work. You get triple javelins, you get Wither, you pop on any elite infantry or large threat, and they just destroy, which is really good. Coach the counts, pops better. Cool, so they're just sorting out here, and Stormrunner's going to be picking his faction. Hopefully we see some Lizardmen action. I think Lizardmen counter Norsca super hard. That's quite controversial. Some people like disagree with me. I had a conversation with people last time about it, and they're like, no, what are you talking about? Norsca are great versus Lizardmen. But Umbral Tide and a Solar Engine sat behind a wall of Saurus and a Krokgar, I think is really hard for Norscans to break down. You can't bring Frog. It's far too risky because they can bring so much long-range fire damage. Solar Engine forces them in, you hit him with the Umbral Tide, and Hand of the Gods will get him down to about half health with one shot. And Wolfric is a very big target as well, so all of those units are very good against him as well. So, in my opinion, Lizardmen kind of crush Norscans, but looks like Stormrunner is going Vampire Counts. Poison Ducky going to be very happy about that as well, as here's a filthy Vampire Count main. Fun build, sadly didn't work out. Yeah, there were some good builds, man. I kind of had to lose because I had schoolwork. Yeah, man. Schoolwork, we all know the school's not important, man. Trust me. As someone who's finished uni, just don't worry about school, man. Don't go. Advice from me. Noob loves himself some Frog. That's what I mean. I've played him before. And he brings Frog, and I'm just like, dude, Umbral Tide. He's just dead in a couple of volleys. I beat 5 Chameleon Slings and 2 Solar Engines the other day. Oh, that sounds like a disgusting build to face. I'm not saying it's impossible, but in my opinion, I think it's Lizardmen favoured. Wolfric has too much armour for Umbral Tide. I can show you a replay, man. I can send it over. I literally had it in a tournament the other day. I baited in Wolfric, pulled him back to the Umbral Tide, and he got melted. He did have Krokgar to contend with as well, of course, but he just can't stand it. Umbral Tide, great against large threats as well, and he does honestly get pretty hardcore melted, especially with, you need someone tanky, of course, like Krokgar, otherwise Wolfric will push into the back line. But you get some Cold War Knights as well to protect that back line, and you are golden. But yeah, as I said, it's like a lot of people don't agree with me with it, and think that Norscan are really good counter. A lot of people bring Norscans against me in tournaments when I go Lizardmen, but I'm more than happy to face them. As it seems to work out for me, but that just might be due to my playstyle, so who knows. But I think Air Force is pretty dominant against them as well, so it's tough. I always forget Salamanders exist. Yeah, they're pretty niche in certain matchups, not a lot of players like them. I myself quite like them, especially up against Vampire Counts, actually. A lot of people go blob build up against the Counts, but I tend to go a bit more spread out and kitey. Looks like Noob Life is ready. Just waiting on the Stormrunner. And he likes to bring Air Force as well. Yes, was it Noob for Life? No, it was part of Palpatine who brought a build which I really liked against Noob for Life with Norscans, which is bringing a Manticore and a Frostworm, something I've been using quite a lot actually myself, and it's a really cool combo. Especially if you have a Shadowcast with you, so you can debuff all the enemy troops basically, and those guys can do decent work to dragons and all sorts. Looks like they're all good. Just gonna check Discord, as I do have a bunch of messages. Dun dun dun. Is there anything important? Nope, looks like we're all good. Cool, just waiting on the legendary Stormrunner. My build for Vampire Counts versus Norsca is Graveguard, supported by Crypt Horrors, with Varghulf to destroy Thamir. I can see it doing pretty good work. Poison Ducky knows a lot more about Vampire Counts than me. I do play most factions to a point, just to keep my knowledge kind of up there, but I don't really play the Undead or Dark Elves that often. Which is annoying because I feel like the Undead and Dark Elves are probably some of the top tier factions in the game. But yeah, maybe it's their playstyle, I've just never been drawn to it hugely. Looks like he's ready. Let's go, champs. Should be some good action here. And who is your money on? Can the memes of the Extreme Meme team, Noob for Life, conquer the death before Dishonour? And Stormrunner. Manticores are probably the most cost-effective monsters in the game now. They are very good. Obviously, the Rampage is kind of annoying, but they're pretty damn cheap. Doesn't matter too much, and they still do really great damage. They can do huge burst damage to enemy lords and casters as well. And yeah, it was in the last Clan War, so I recommend going back and checking that out. Palpatine brings this crazy cool Norscan build, which I have been stealing so much. And I've changed it to a point and kind of ducked it up a little bit, but it's a pretty damn cool build. Anyway, for the very oddly placed formation of Noob for Life here, to wait for him to build up his forces a little bit and check out Stormrunner. And actually, no, it looks like he's organised it quite quickly. Okay, so for the front line, we have cheap and cheerful Marauders with some Marauder Spearmen mixed in there as well. Give them a little bit better bonus versus large. Marauders are going to do fantastic, of course, at chewing through zombies and skeleton warriors and the like. But if there's Graveguard and stuff, these guys will start to suffer. We have triple Marauder Hunter Javelins. These guys can be very good as well. They're decent at taking down the large monsters. And if you have like Wither or something, they can even do decent work up against Graveguard. Secondary line, we have a ton of Marauder Spearmen as well as more Marauders, so very healthy on the kind of amount of troops he's brought here, but not going very elite at all. We have the Beasts of Tanashnar, who are great versus anti-large. However, they are very squishy, and they're still hounds, so you want them to be supported realistically. They can obviously destroy light cav on their own, but heavy cav and stuff will still run them over. Looks like for his lordship, we do have Wulfric the Wanderer up on top of his mighty mammoth here, looking pretty damn awesome and snorting steam out of his mouth. This guy, obviously an absolute staple. Hunter of Champions, Fight or Die, and Rage. It looks like he is going for a Doom box. Was it Noob for Life? I swear it was Palpatine who brought the Doom box before of these guys. Looks like we have the Soul Crusher Mammoth as well. Pretty damn decent. Has the ability, let's go in here and check the name of it, and it gives it damage resistance. It is Enrage. 44% damage resistance is very powerful. Against range-heavy factions, you push this guy on forward, they all target him down, you pop Enrage, and he's nice and tasty. But looks like a good build overall. What's the caster? The caster is currently inside Wulfric, which is going to be a pain. There he is. Ugh. Oh my god. Oh god, where's he going? There he is. Okay, Familiar Belfield of Fire, which is going to be good, of course. Cascading Fire Cloak, Burning Head, and Fireball. So also competitive stuff. For Burning Head, obviously a nightmare for Vampire Camps players. Now for the front line of Stormrunner, we do have zombies dotted all the way along. We have one unit of Sternsmen, so a very flimsy front line. Quite surprised he didn't bring more Graveguard, but I think are pretty good in this matchup. The zombies are simply going to get chewed up, and then it's going to be the Sternsmen versus the world. There is double Corpse Cart, though, with Balefire and Unholy Lodestone on them, respectively. We have triple Dire Wolves as well in the back here. A Vargulf on the ground, looking nice and tasty. Terrorgeist up in the sky, one of them being a Vampire Lord as well. I'm always going to mispronounce these names, but Strigoi, I want to say Strigoi Vampire Lord, who looks incredibly cool. He's like a giant ghoul, and he is going to be bringing with him lots of awesomeness. Ghoul King, Claw of Morcane. I don't get to see this guy too often, actually, so a lot of these units are pretty new to me, or abilities at least. Command of the Unliving, summon a unit of Crypt Ghouls, that's very powerful. Invocation of the Heck, Spirit Leech, all that good stuff. And double Banshee as well on the ground to support the infantry fight, as these guys are going to get run over pretty quickly. This is what I'm talking about, guys. Stormrunner brings the craziest builds, but he makes them work. But is he going to crack the Doom box? It's going to be tough, because he doesn't really have the troops to push through the front line, and the Javelins are going to tear apart a lot of his single entities. Exalted Manticore is the best. Exalted Manticore, so good, man. Balefire Corpse Cart, laughing face. Well, we will see. Stormrunner certainly proves himself a worthy opponent with the craziest of units, and should be some good fun. Those breath attacks are going to have to do a decent amount of work, but there's not much to take down the Dabble Mammoths, to be honest. There's not much anti-large at all, actually, apart from these Terrorgeists, who can do some decent work. But if they drop down and try and hunt down Wulfric and the Mammoth, not only is it going to be a pretty good fight as the Mammoths punch back hard, there's also a ton of Marauder Hunter Javelins. So these Direwolves are going to need to pop on top of these guys, sneak through the cracks in the formation, whilst those guys beat up the Mammoths. It's going to be really hard micro, I think, from Stormrunner's point of view to carry this game. Good luck I've found in chat, which is beautiful. Always like to see that good stuff. The Terrorgeists do start to fly forward. A glorious fireball is coming in. Looks like it is going after a Banshee. Not a bad shout, of course, at all. Banshees are ethereal, so take more damage to magic. All these have pretty bad defense in general, but of course they normally have that resistance. But nice bit of damage done there overall. Zombies are starting to walk forward, and I can't see a way that this force is going to be able to break into the back line where these hunter javelins are going to be taken offline for a significant amount of time. The hounds are trying to lurk best where they can, but it's a nice dowie geometry right here. Norseman's trying to adopt it as much as possible, and they have their own beasts as well. Hunters are wasting a few javelins into zombies, but you know, it's free real estate, it's free kills. At the end of the day, I suppose, but those guys really want to be retargeting. Another fireball does come in, hitting the different Banshee this time, again bringing pretty decent damage to the table overall. The battle is underway. Direpack do somehow manage to sweep into the back line on top of these javelins. They have been counter-charged here by the Beast of Tashnar. More direwolves trying to pile in here and really overwhelm one side of the formation, but it's pretty tough. In comes the Soul Crusher as well. I quite like the idea of trying to get into the back lines as the other direwolf pack does manage to charge in. Morals are being forced back now, so the front line is a little bit crumbled and Sternsman can heavily push in, but it is going to counter these direwolves as the big alpha strikes are all starting to come in. Double breath attack going to be coming down on Wolfric the Wanderer as well. These guys can probably get in here and try and snipe him as much as possible, with only one of the hunters currently being active, although they are getting some pretty decent work. The Vargulf is coming over, and yeah, this is going to be a big engagement if these guys do decide to land here. So they're just, yeah, both are swooping in. The Soul Crusher needs to go over there and support, and all these javelins need to get back and active. A few of the mortars are being pinned in by zombies, and in comes the corpse cart. Oh, just dragging in these poor zombies. But a huge engagement coming down over here. Scroll of Shielding has been popped on Wolfric, an ability which I really love coming in by the Bale Fiend here. Giving that 22% damage distance. Plus Cascade of Fire Cloak gives him extra melee defense. He's certainly going to be a very tanky boy. And with the Soul Crusher coming in, these Terror guys are really going to pay the troll toll. We do have Hunter Javelins as well coming in and launching their shots. And I think it's going to be quite decisively a victory here for the Norskins, I want to say. I know it's pretty early in the game, Balance Power dead even, but one of the Terror guys is already deleted here. It looks like in the back lines we have some summoning Crypt Horrors, but they are starting to struggle. There's just too many Spearmen and Hunters on the line. The Corpse Guard trying to get into the back line where possible, and there's a lot of support over here in this main engagement with the Summons and so forth, and the Banshees. And actually, Wolfric has taken an absolute pounding, despite the fact he has a fight or die popped, and that Scroll of Shielding, which lasts such a disgusting long time. The Vampire Lord is still full health as well, but one of the Terror guys going down that quickly. Did it completely die? Did it get back up into the sky? Looks like it did, unfortunately, completely die. As no! These guys have such good connections so far, it's been working fine. So unfortunately, a little bit of lag coming in here. But with Soul Crusher so active, it's going to be tough. But at the same time, Wolfric is down to, I mean, still 4,800 health, but for him, that's quite a lot disappearing. Banshees can be a bit of a nightmare to deal with as well, and Vampire Lord can certainly hold his weight. The glorious Balefire Corpse Cart, 0 kills so far, but it's rolling dirty through some Marauders, trying its best, as the Crypt Horrors do unfortunately fall here. Wolfric manages to make it to the safety of his back line. Hunters as well, very wisely being pulled back here, allowing them to realign themselves and get some decent damage. Hunter Champions has been popped on the Vampire Lord, who needs to get back up in the sky as the Soul Crusher does hunt him down. And I really like that play. A lot of people only use Hunter Champions when Wolfric is nearby, but if you have other powerful troops nearby, pop it on him and destroy him as quickly as possible. Zombies slowly being dragged down, and there's a lot of Marauders who can come back to this main fight now. Lovely breath attack coming down on Wolfric the Wanderer, doing some more damage, and the Vampire Lord is coming in for the Ultimate Showdown, Ultimate Destiny, with 2 mammoths, and just such a large amount of damage. Huge weapon strength from those guys, and a big stomp coming down there on the Vampire Lord. He has popped all his buffs here though, trying to keep him active as possible. Vargulf now again isolated and slowly dragged down. Spearman can simply come in and close the gap as well. However, Wolfric the Wanderer is getting absolutely annihilated here by a combination of the Banshees and the Vargulf. And down to 1,000 health. He does start to break here. Unfortunately, there's nothing that can really chase him down apart from the Vampire Lord. And I think I'm going to eat my words here. The Counts are making a fantastic comeback and really putting a fight on here. So many Javelins are being launched in though, which could be a big problem. Soul Crusher does pop in rage, and this Vampire Lord needs to get out of here. He's taking far too much damage. The one Banshee is being committed here with Slippery as well, increasing his speed to hunt down Wolfric the Wanderer and force him off the battlefield, which is going to be a great pick. But unfortunately, the Vampire Lord is taking so many Javelins to the face here, and yeah. That's so much work there. However, this entire time, the Vargulf is being allowed to beat down the Soul Crusher pretty heavily here, down to just 2,700 health. The Vampire Lord holding the line, upgraded Invocation Heck, trying to keep him fighting, but there's not enough troops to hunt down the Hunters, although it looks like Corpse Cart is trying its best. I think saving those direwolves to the point of the game, more like this section of the game, instead of wasting them early on, could be proven vital here. Soul Crusher still doing decent work overall as a fireball. Is getting a 360 no scope of the Familiar Belfiend, trying to hunt down this Banshee and allow Wulfric a bit of distance. It looks like there's some pretty decent work, but also spanks Wulfric on the butt here. He's not going to be happy about that. 740 health, he does rally, and he should be able to turn around and deal with this Banshee. In the main engagement, that Vampire trying his best here. He's used so much of his healing up though, near his healing cap here. The Soul Crusher taking a bit of a pounder, but what a game so far. Stormrunner really averted my expectations and doing some fantastic work here so far. Soul Crusher down to just 1,500 health, and in the distance, the mighty Wolf of the Wanderer flees before the beat-up Banshee, and Wulfric probably going to be forced off the entire battlefield here. Hunters still have some okay amount of ammunition left. Looks like there is only one unit left of ammunition. And the Vampire Lord still 1,500 health. This is such a close fight here. These Attachment are going to be doing some great work on him as well, of course, with the anti-large. But the Soul Crusher has been defeated. There's only really single entities left. The Banshee is going to be quite a pain to deal with as he does hunt down the Balefiend where possible. But the Vampire Lord down to just 800 health here. Leadership is a little bit of a problem as well, as the Varghulf are going to be used to hunt down the Soul Crusher, which is a really good shout. Vampire Lord trying to get back up into the air, but one or two more volleys from these javelins and he's going to be done for. How many volleys do you guys have left? Just the one. Looks like they're going to be launching it into the Varghulf. No, you want to hunt down the Vampire Lord as much as possible. Looks like he's going to crumble into oblivion anyway, and Norscans do win the day. But what a close game. Really nice Vampire Count's play there, and even with the limited troops he had to break into that back line, he did very good overall. How does everyone feel about the DLC and the free Lord? I'm really excited, Pactor. Really excited. I'm not high elf or greenskin main or anything like that, but the units look so much fun. But I'll discuss that with you in a second anyway, after we set these guys up for the next game. So overall, fantastic play. Really love this type of build. Wulfric can do a good job as well. You can also use a more chieftain if you're going a bit more cheap and cheerful, allowing you to get one or two more units. But yeah, mass troops up against counts can work quite well to clear out the chaff, and the triple javelins there were the real money makers, helping support Wulfric and the Mammoth as they managed to deal with the Terrorgeist. The Hounds, I liked the play, breaking into the back line, and it allowed him to do some initial good work. I think maybe keeping just one unit clear at the end would have allowed him to hunt down the javelins and seal the deal. But super fun game by both of these champs here. GG, well played. That was indeed a close game. So we are going to go now to Langwil and pop on there. So let's update the score. Need for Life is 1 up. Dun, dun, dun. Cool. Looks like we're all good. And Storm to pick and bam. With no infantry left, all single entity monsters have to be in combat. I mean the fiber which hit the butt of the mouth. That was such a beautiful shot. It was very beautiful indeed. I think what you're saying, Storm, is that even though the Banshee was in combat, I think all of them have to be in combat if it's just single entities. But regardless, it was a good game, so don't worry about it. Stormrunner is going Skaven and banning Counts and Tomb Kings. Two good bans there. New for Life, I'd like to see him play some Wood Elves. I don't think he plays in that. He's going to be going Dark Elves, which, again, they have a ton of cheap missile fire. So that can do some pretty decent work. But yes, Pactor, I'm incredibly excited. I'm probably going to do some streams where I just play as High Elves and I just play as Greenskins. The things I'm most excited for are the White Lions, the feral ones in particular, but also some Chariots, which I don't have to micro too much because they can work in sustained combat. But regardless of how good they are, and people make a lot of early game predictions like this in early access, which often can be quite skewed and so forth, I'm excited to bring them regardless. Even if they're terrible, I'm always going to be rocking that Regiment Renowned one. It looks so good. So I'm excited for them. I'm excited for Imric the Dragon Prince as well, far more than I am the Warden. He still looks very cool and very powerful. He's certainly going to dominate the skies, rocking Tempest and all that good stuff. But Imric looks so cool, especially on his horse mount. He looks so badass. That steed is beautiful. But again, on top of his mighty Star Dragon, it's going to be good fun as well. And for the Greenskins, I'm excited to try out their wacky, crazy, ridiculous inventions. The pump wagons look hilariously janky, very 90s Warhammer, but they look good fun. And the Greenskins get so much cool stuff. I'm excited to try the idols as well. And all of their lords getting a buff, I think, was very much needed. And honestly, I think Snarsnick might be the most competitive. But again, I've only seen little clips and so forth. But Snarsnick looks very good. and as well as all the Goblin War bosses, because the fungi ability, making something rampage, especially at range, is such a powerful ability. So that looks pretty good. Grimgor, getting a little bit tougher as well. I love Grimgor. I bring him sometimes anyway, even though he's a bit of a meme. But seeing him in action and actually do some work, I think he's going to be pretty powerful as well. So yeah, it's going to be good fun to see all that stuff. But yeah, so hope you guys are excited for it as well. As excited as I am. Oh, as these guys do the stream would you like to see to celebrate? Do you want to see a big King of the Hill? Do you want me to play against people? Do you want me to do like quick battles? What would you like to see? We're also going to be starting a Imric, the Dragon Prince campaign. I know I've started a few in the past and not completed them because they don't seem to be anywhere near as popular as the multiplayer content I deliver, which is completely fine if you guys are into that type of stuff a bit more. But I'm going to be so hyped to play it anyway that we're probably just going to put it on the channel. I might as well. And maybe do a head-to-head as well. There's a few people who've been asking. Lord Zeus, I think it was Darth Pendragon wanted to do one, and someone else, I can't remember, I think it was my housemate, wanted to do head-to-heads, which, if I have time, I might be able to, but it's going to be really hard to kind of organise that type of thing with kind of my schedule, which moves around quite a lot and is pretty busy, unfortunately. But we will see. We will see. So yeah, let me know either in chat or on Discord if you have any suggestions for the 500 sub special. Langwill, here we go. Here we go. It's going to be fun on a burn. I'm excited for the Clan War tomorrow as well. Very underprepared. We haven't like trained at all, but you know, that's the way I like to play. Just hop in, have fun, chill out, bring some wild stuff. So, for the forces of the mighty Noob for Life, can he take this into a 2-0 series so far? For the front line, oh my god, this is glorious. This is just glorious play. We've seen such fun builds today. It's always good to see some unique units. So, for his main battle line, we do have cheap and cheerful Dread Spears dotted all the way along. These guys will hold the line for a decent amount of time and can do some okay damage against large, lightly armoured foes. We have Dark Riders with shields. It looks like 3 of these guys. Some of them chevron up to silver chevron, which is pretty good for those guys. Sensuous Harvesters as well. Regiment around Doomfire Warlocks. We've spoken about these guys consistently. We have 1 Scourge Runner Chariot, which is good to see that he's not abusing them with huge amounts of them. It's just 1. Now I've said that, I'm probably going to turn around and it's going to be like 3 chariots. It looks like we have 1 chariot. We have a Sorceress of Death. I quite like this pick. Coming in just the Spirit Leech. And what is that ability? Look at a horse. It looks pretty disgusting. Coming in with Dark Star Cloak. Oh, okay, this improves power charge rate. Nothing crazy. We have a Supreme Sorceress of Death up in the sky as well, so coming with 2 casters, which I quite like to see. We have the Chill Wind, which is good value for money, and Soul Seal, of course, one of the most powerful abilities in the game. But the real punch of this army is the Chill of Sontar, Regiment-renowned Hydra. Look at him in all his gloriousness. Of course, comes in with that nice Frost Breath attack and slow, and of course has regeneration like all Hydras. And we have a second War Hydra as well. Really fun build overall. Nice to see something a little bit different than the usual kind of Dark Rider spam. And yeah, good to see. So for the forces of the Skaven here and Stormrunner, in the front line we have some Gutter Runners on the flanks and Clan Rats with spears dotted all the way along with Skaven slaves. So Skaven, known to die, and clutch speed roadblocks, soak up that damage and allow the rest of his army to deal the damage back and deal some pain. But I do like the inclusion of the Gutter Runners on the side as well to do their poison. In the centre pocket we do have 1 unit of Poisoned Wind Mortars who are going to be protected by Warp Grinders plus the Teeth Breakers who can do some disgusting damage if you get too close. We have the Rat Ogres as well in the back line. Often you'll see people bring these guys as a backline protection. Used to be used as a kind of flanking maneuver, and like Cav basically, but I really like using these guys as a back line. They're quick, they can deal decent damage as well, and will certainly be able to pound down Dark Riders quite comfortably. We also have Ittic Claw here on his mighty Wheel of Doom here, which is such a cool model. Look at this. That's what I'm talking about. With all the new DLCs, the models get better and better. I think Seer have really started to nail everything, so I'm so excited for all the future content and Total Warhammer 3. Storm Demon, unlimited power of course, Brass Orb, Flenching Ruins, like I don't see too often at all. Howling Warp Gale and Warp Lightning. We also have a Plague Priest as well up on top of his nice swinging ball here. Going to be having a whale of a time on top of his Plague Furnace. Coming in with Pestilent Breath, Vile Tide, and all that good stuff. Well, it looks like Pestilent Breath is down there multiple times for some reason, not sure why. Looks like straight out the gate we do have a Spirit Leech coming down on the Poison Wind Mortars, which is not a bad shout at all. Should be fun. Come on guys. Their last game wasn't too laggy, so hopefully this will stabilise in just a second and we will get underway. So it looks like initially the Dark Riders have been positioned in a bit of a vanguard, dotted around, just trying to get out their bearings and hunt down any backline pressure. But to be honest, there's not too much. Normally you expect Warplock Giselles and so forth, but it is just the Teethbreakers here and the Mortars. Mortars will wreck Elf Infantry because, of course, Dark Elves, much like High Elves, have tightly packed formations, gets these guys some fantastic value, and the Teethbreakers are pretty tough to use because, of course, they've got quite short range, and the closer the enemy is, the more damage it does. So you really want to be right up in their faces with those huge guns. If you can protect them, they will nuke down, say, a Supreme Sorceress incredibly quickly. Frontline engagement certainly going to go the Hydra's way, going to be a crushing Skaven slaves and so forth. And Gutter Runners are starting to poison the Squadron Chariot as well, trying to slow them down. As Iticlaw rolls dirty here now. He's getting a few decent shots up actually at the Supreme Sorceress, if I can catch my words there. Although she is turned around to engage. Word of Pain has been popped on him as well, lowering his melee attack, so he's certainly going to want to retreat here. Gutter Runners poisoning the Supreme Sorceress should give him a hand. And the Teethbreakers are here, but they are very unprotected. And in comes the Chill of Sontar, but you can see the huge burst damage they do to this guy. Look at his health just disappear as he slows down as well. But nothing to protect these guys is very scary. They're going to need to fall back. Iticlaw to try and do some work. But Word of Pain and a Soul Sealer pops on these guys is very scary. The Supreme Sorceress also ducks in here. We'll get to the rest of our guys, but this is a pretty key engagement. It looks like, for the most part, War Hydra crumping the front line. There's a sneaky assassin I missed earlier, and the Plague Furnace trying to hold back. A lot of the Skaven troops are still kept in reserve here. Lots to micromanage, of course. But in this key main engagement, the Warp Grind's a little bit, unfortunately, too far behind to protect Iticlaw, and he's been dumpstered here by the Chill of Sontar. And the problem with the Hydras is if you don't do enough damage to them early on, they're just going to heal up with regeneration. So you really want to pound those guys down in one go, or leave them to the end and isolate them. Warp Grinders are coming in here though. They do some okay work against them, but again, isolated, it's not going to be too good. The Skaven really need to keep their forces together, and it looks like they're doing okay in the front line, with the Mortars starting to do some decent damage up against the Dread Spears here. Supreme Sorceress, however, very healthy, and we're just going to see Iticlaw finished off with Spirit Leeches, which is a sad way for the rat to go. In the back line, Teethbreakers did get completely shattered, and Gutter Runners have been caught by Smesh's Harvesters, and this is a very early dominant performance coming in by the Dark Elves, I believe. It looks like most of the long-range forces have been forced off. We do have the Rat Ogres who need to come back into the main fold. Looks like they were chasing off some troops. Clan Rats need to get in action as well. And the Poison Wind Mortars up to 12 kills, unfortunately getting caught there in the trees. We do have a summon as well of the little Plague Rats. They're going to be trying their best. But with the Plague Priest completely surrounded here by Supreme Sorceress and War Hydra, even though Rival High Talisman has been popped with such a fantastic ability, minus 40 melee attack is huge. These guys rocking a massive 0 melee attack is pretty disastrous for them overall. And they're starting to struggle. I love combining that with Brittle Bones personally, but not too many people seem to like rocking the kind of assassin sorcerer, the Eshin sorcerer. In comes the Chill of Sontar, going to be hunting down the Plague Priest where possible, but of course he does move into the Rival High Talisman range, and these units certainly be able to pay for themselves now against the much weakened and depleted Dark Elves. But apart from that, across the whole battlefield, Dark Elves are ruling supreme. Dark Riders and Smesh's Harvesters getting fantastic value, hunting down and chasing off rallying troops, shattering them and finishing off for good. Looks like Dark Riders though taking a absolute pounding here. It looks like an orc may have come down there. If Iticlaw has rallied up, I'd be very surprised. But it looks like the Gutter Runners are going to be getting chased down by Dark Riders, and that's going to be the end of those poor little rat boys. Trying to escape in the trees, but really nice cycle charging coming by the Supreme Sorceress is going to help finish off the Plague Priest, and a massive Soul Stealer is just the kick in the nuts that the Skaven did not want in this fight right now. Balance power pushing over to army losses, and that is going to be game, so 2-0 so far. But certainly still time for Stormrunner to come back here. And great play overall. I love the double Hydra. It's really unexpected, quite risky. Of course, up against all the long range the Skaven can bring. Warplock Giselles, Warp Lightning Cans, and so forth. But at the same time, it is a little bit of a trick. Because they have that regeneration, if you unload all their damage into them, they'll then just heal up at the end once the backline has been crumbled, and then get in there and do some decent damage. So, good fun build overall by Noob for Life. Good to see some interesting units as well, instead of, just Dark Riders with repeated crossbows and Malekith and all that good stuff. So, Stormrunner as well, pretty fun build. Just didn't quite have enough there, that packed punch. The Poison Wind Mortars could have done good work up against the Dread Spears, and they still did some okay health damage, but there just wasn't enough to protect them, and unfortunately, the Teethbreakers, although they tore apart one of the Hydras quite quickly, the Warp Grinders needed to be a little bit closer and tighter to them, so they could hop in and protect them and allow them to escape and once again unleash shots in. But of course, that's much easier to say from up here on my high horse, looking down, and casting. It's much harder to do actually in game. So I'm going to be on Alpine Ridge here. I forgot my grinders. Yeah, that's the problem there. Forgot the opal amulet. Two good things. There were no Warhammer cup. What was that? Forgot the opal amulet. Two good thing. There were. No idea what he's talking about there, but okay. We'll update the score here. New for Life is 2-0 up. Also, I just got a few messages from someone. Don't know why Discord's been so slow. GG indeed. I'm just trying to load a message here. Don't know why Discord's been so slow. Cool. So I've got some messages from someone I need to answer in a second. I'm going to pop back into the lobby just now. I've got my own list. Sweet. Noob to pick and ban. And Alpine Ridge is the map. So can New for Life take this finals in a swift 3-0, or is Stormrunner going to be able to fight back here and drag it back to a 2-1 series? Warp Lightning Cannon, I think. Yeah, Warp Lightning Cannon can do some decent work up against the Hydras and the larger threats, but it's pretty tough as well, you know, because the Hydras can regenerate. So I quite like that pick from Noob for Life overall, but very well played, Stormrunner. Certainly a good game by yourself. Forgot the damage resist item on my lord. Yes. The damage resist item can be very powerful. Opal Amulet is such a good ability. I do some very good work indeed. Let's see what these guys do. Pick and ban. I'm hoping for some Lizardmen action, but you never know. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, that's quite funny. So I'm reading a message. I put up a replay recently, and someone sent me a message saying they equally played the guy who played in that against the exact same army, which is quite funny. Cool, looks like New for Life is going to be rocking the Lizardman here. He is a Lizardman main, which makes him a brother from another mother to me. Or a skink from another lizard, I suppose. And we'll see what he does ban. Of course, someone already played Skaven, who are quite good up against the Lizardmen, so I assume he's going to be banning Vampirates and Tomb Kings would be my guess. Or maybe Dowie. Let's see. Hate this map. Wahaha. A lot of people don't seem to like this map, but I quite like it. It's some good fun. Big hill in the middle does make for some interesting tactical awareness, and it's quite thematic for the late game here, as both of these combatants do try and claw their way up the hill, whilst under rains of fire, of course, trying to claim the title. If you guys are enjoying the stream as well, please do feel free to like and give a big old subscribe. If you are new to the channel, we do things, all things Total War, plus some reaction videos as well as other games. We're currently doing a Gris series on Fridays, which I'm heavily enjoying. And we're probably going to be doing Hollow Knight after that as well. Although that probably won't be live streamed, I'm going to have to learn how to edit, I'm afraid. So I need to speak to Poison Ducky about that, actually, and edit it down, because it's a very large game. So I'm probably not going to be showing kind of all the different bits of it. There's a side of that where I might play some Warhammer Online, as there is a private server, or I may even play Vermintide. I haven't really decided yet. I don't know what the consensus will be from my fans and what they'd rather see, and I don't know what, get the most views and stuff, I suppose, but cool. So here's banning Vampirates and Dowie. So yeah, two of the expected ones there, and Stormrunner going Dark Elves. A lot of people do like Dark Elves against Lizardmen. It's probably like 55-45 in the favour of Dark Elves. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. Scourge and Chariots, of course, very powerful, as well as Dark Riders, but at the same time, Lizardmen have some fantastic tools. Salamanders can do huge burst damage to Dark Riders if you're not careful. Of course, you have to sneak up on them and get the right engagements, and at the same time, you're probably going to win the frontline engagement 90% of the time, unless they are bringing Executioners and Black Guard, and in that case, you have to use some of your abilities and so forth to win the day. Looks like they're all good to go, and this could be the final game of the stream, guys. Or there could be some more glory to follow if Stormrunner does manage to sneak a victory in here, which would be some good fun. I'd like to see it go all the way. But don't worry, it's not going to be the only tournament of the weekend. Tomorrow, RTK, DBD, Clan Wars, be there or be square. Should be some real good fun overall. I'm excited to see some of the guys play as well. I've played a few of the RTK guys. I'm actually in a group with them at the moment in a tournament. Managed to take down Cypher, but I still haven't played. I can't remember what his name is, but one more combatant to go. So I'm just doing a tiny little doodle here. Very professional of me, as I do wait for these guys to design their armies. Looks like Stormrunner is ready, just waiting on Noob for life. Let's check that quickly. Bam, bam, bam. Looks like we're all good in the herd. I get lots of pop-ups on my Discord, but mainly it's for other channels where people have kind of tagged here or anywhere rather than directing, but I've always got to check just in case anyone has any queries. Maps after this, I'm probably going to do Outdoor for Outskirts, if this does go one more. Write this down so I don't forget. So we can do a quick turnaround when I remember. And the final game, if we go all the way, will probably be played on Iron Sand Desert. Just write those down. And there we go. Kaffa. There you go. Thank you, Stormrunner. You have to play him as well. I think he's quite a deadly combatant. I got warned he was probably going to be the toughest one in the group to take down. I played his clanmate Cypher. I managed to 2-0 him, but it was some pretty tight games, to be honest. The last one kind of came down to Archaon, finishing off some of his Tomb King lords and so forth. But the first game was a bit better. Skaven, and he counterpicked me with Lizardmen, which was quite an odd choice. Perfect spend every game, no wonder I'm doing so good. Oh, glorious. Glorious indeed. Looks like these boys are ready. I love it when you get a 0 gold spend. And I answered your question earlier, Patrick, about what I was most looking forward to DLC-wise. What are you most looking forward to, man? I know you're a bit of an elf boy, so I'm sure you're excited to see some of the new High Elf tools. I really like the idea that Techless can ride the Arcane Phoenix, and the mages, or Arcane mages at least, can ride Moon Dragons. The Fire Mage can ride the Fire Dragon. It brings so much more utility and tankiness to those type of guys. So here we go. Lord Masterman, yeah, I love it. So Noob for Life, trying to take the series here. This is the game of a lifetime. Can he break his way into the finals? And of course, winning this final will guarantee him an entry into the grand finals. And this is qualifier number 2. So qualifier number 1 was won by Inticity, so he will be there as well, of course. So, for the front line, it looks like we have a mixture of Saurus Warriors, Red-Crested Skinks, being the cohorts of Sotek variety, and a couple of units of Temple Guard, including the Star Chamber Guardians. What a man! Bringing these absolute bad boys. They're magical halberd, making them incredibly cool, and they're blackened dark skulls with the red eyes. It just looks so good. We also have triple skink cohorts of javelins, really good value for money unit overall. A couple of Cold One riders, one of them being a spear version, which I prefer over the other ones, but at the same time they both have their own utility and tools. These guys are looking for a feast today. We have a Skink Priest of Beasts on a Engine of the Gods. This is glorious. Just coming in with the Manticore summon, but we should be able to see if the Burning Alignment can carry the day as well. It's very easily dodged, but can do some huge burst damage. Lord Mazdamundi coming in here with Ruination of Cities, so going for all the crazy spells. Shield of the Old Ones, Apotheosis, and Harmonic Convergence. He's also bringing his Sunburst Standard of Hexotl, giving that 12% missile resistance and melee defense on top of the Star Chamber Guardian, so of course give Guardian. This is a very, very disgusting blob indeed. So, cool fun build. Now, for the forces of the Dark Elves, looks like he's going for a pretty cool approach himself. In the front line, Bleak Swords mixed in with one unit of Dreadsters, or two, sorry, in the centre pocket trying to hold the line. They will do okay up against the Saurus and Skinks, but really going to struggle to take down those Temple Guard. In the secondary line, we have a couple of units of Dark Shards. We come in there with a decent arrow fire. We have Dark Riders on either side with shields, and in the centre pocket we have the Black Guard of Nagarond and Sisters of Singing Doom. Now what happens here is the Sisters of Singing Doom will run ahead of the Black Guard, try and rampage a unit, and then drag them into the Black Guard of Nagarond. I saw Ronin do it a couple of streams ago, and it is incredibly powerful and potent. We have, oh my god, I forget this unit so much. Look how horrific this face is. It is a glorious model. I love the lower jaw of the centre pocket here, which is kind of dangling. And we have a Carabas coming in, bringing the memes himself here. Abysmal, Bizel? Whatever that is, Howl, -8 leadership, and of course does poison damage. We again have Luke here, Fellheart, Stormrunner proving that this guy is a beast in combat. And he is of course coming with Dreaded Duelist, Deadly Onslaught, all that good stuff. We also have a Sorceress of Death coming with Fate of Buna, Spirit Leech, and Doom and Darkness. Now, he's going to probably have to use Fate of Buna on the Temple Guard and finish those guys off. They're going to be a huge problem in this matchup. Loki, of course, can go toe-to-toe with Lord Mazdamundi, and even the Skink Priest relatively well. Yes, there's two of them, but Mazdamundi is not on the slack, so he should do fairly well there. But the Star Chamber Guardians and Temple Guard are going to be a hard counter to him, so he really wants to get those from the Breath attacks and the Fate of Bunas or Spirit Leeches. Carabas as well is going to do some pretty cool work, but again needs to avoid the Temple Guard as much as possible, and those Cold One Spear Riders. So race for the top of the hill here as both forces do push up. Somehow the much slower Lizardmen do manage to make it there just first. Dread Spears are going to engage here, and the Taurus Warriors are going to have to field day. They will pull apart Dread Spears very, very effectively. So let's see what Sorcerer Left does start to go for. Looks like she's just chilling for now as the front line does get underway. And the Dark Shard's going to be looping some shots up and over, trying to assist these Dread Spears in the front line. The Blackguard also do begin to push in. Honestly, just take these Dark Riders and start charging into the Skink Cohort would probably be the best bet here. Oh, I hear magic going off. Where is it? Where is it? I missed, unfortunately. Temple Guard trying their best here, but it looks like Loke Felheart has managed to drop back on the Coldwind Riders and some pretty okay damage. And in the back line, the Skink Priest of Beast launches away through the front line and onto the Dark Shard. There's nothing back here to protect these guys. He really needs to get Loke and get back from good back line protection. Blackguard and Nagron trying to hunt down troops where possible. And a big fat Fate of Unit does come down on the Star Chamber Guardians as expected. The Carabist has found some Slan booty, and he's very excited to try and break them down and destroy him. Loke Felheart popping in as well. However, Lord Manstamili does pop shield with the old ones, and our Temple Guard fighting here as well. This is a Sling and Doom popping in, rampaging the cohort of Sotek away so they can't block their ability. In the back line, Skink Priest beat the crap out of the Dark Shards. Looks like we have Manticore summon as well, and Saurus are pushing through on all flanks. So this men getting a really nice surround here. Dark Elves certainly praying that their big blob can win the day, but it's going to be really rough coming up against, of course, all the Temple Guard, pinning them in and allowing Lord Manstamili to escape. Skinks, just being the pests that they are, clearly some javelins in, poison down these troops and helping lower their stats. The Star Chamber Guardians are going to get in here and do some really decent damage. Dark Shards are back online once again, but New for Life can simply take these Skink Cohort Javelins and hunt them down, force them away. And there's a full health unit of Temple Guard pretty much as well, who can come back into the main engagement. This is looking pretty rough for the Dark Elves overall. Balance power is slightly in the favour of the Lizardmen. That Carabist trying his best to hunt down Lord Manstamili, who's not the fastest chap, and the Temple Guard aren't that fast either, so he may be able to snipe him out here and get his way back into the game. Loke Felheart as well, dueling very effectively up against the Skink Priest. Temple Guard as well are being dragged down by a combination of Sisters Sling and Doom and Blackguard, but they're paying a hefty price for this, and I don't know if there's going to be much fair units and stuff left. Unfortunately, it's quite hard to manage, of course, all these troops. Manticore is being wasted here up in the sky, and Loke Felheart trying to come in as well on the assassination attempt on Lord Manstamili, which is going to be well worth it if you can drag him down here. Dark Shards in the backline are being rescued by the Sorceress of Death, who may be able to do it, and there's some more rallying troops as well. Second Manticore does go down, but Lord Manstamili getting sniped out here, but in comes the double Manticore, even though this one is going to be disappearing shortly. It does push away Loke Felheart, allowing Lord Manstamili to escape a little bit. But Skink Priest is in a dangerous situation. Ferromancer are going to have to come in and do some real good work. We still have Temple Guard active. Star Chamber Guardians are very healthy. The Sorceress needs to get back over there and start casting some nasty spells. And it's still a pretty close game. Balance power is slightly favoured in the forces of the Lizmen. We haven't seen a burn-in alignment so far, which I'm very disappointed about. But of course, it's one of those micro-insensitive abilities. There's still some Bleak Swords fighting here. These guys do not want to be here. Look at this giant monster mash. What, you would not want to be a Dark Elf in the middle of this. Lizards one way, dragons the other, and big old ugly dinosaurs in the third. Should have one's certainly going to be helping out here. Loke Felheart, incredibly tanky. Unfortunately, the Carabist has taken huge work. Star Chamber Guardians get in here, and they will die to protect Lord Manstamili, doing huge damage to the Carabist and forcing it off the field. And the Lizardmen should have the troops, Goblin Rise most likely, to hunt these guys down where possible. Loke trying his best to hunt down Lord Manstamili, but there's so much mass in his way. Skink Priest gets that fat booty in the path. And Loke Felheart will be dragged down by the sheer weight of Star Chamber Guardians, I feel here. But the balance power does swoop even heavier in favour of the Lizardmen. Carabist being chased off by Skink Cohort, such good value. I love good diligent play like this into the late game, where you chase off a high value target with something quite cheap and cheerful. Of course, the Bleak Swords and stuff do start to shatter, as unfortunately. Oh, quick close there. But yeah, GG's. Super fun game overall. I spar of Kafta sometimes. He loves Dark Elf and Marathi blobs. Oh, boo. We're going to try facing that. Good fun game overall. New for Life, quite dominant in that victory. The problem here was the Temple Guard. If it wasn't for the Temple Guard, I actually really like Stormrunner's build, and he's proven that Loke Felheart is an absolute beastly combatant. Fighting even deep amongst the Temple Guard, he did pretty good work up against Lord Manstamili, but needed to use those Dragon Breath attacks to finish off the Temple Guard where possible, and again, use Fair Buners, Spirit Legions, and all that good stuff to bring them down, because these two guys were just rock hard in the centre. They could beat the crap out of any of the units in the Dark Elf roster, as well as the big monsters, and nice attempted snipes on Lord Manstamili. Maybe if he could finish him off, he could have broken the leadership, but it was a pretty tough game overall, but very well played. Thanks for hosting, no worries. GG, well played. Well done on making it to the grand finals. Pleasure, as always, getting to play. No worries, Noob for Life. Great to have you. A fantastic champion. Let's update the scoreboard while I think about it here. Going up to a dominant 3-0 there by Noob for Life. Played really well today, and he will be with Inticity in the grand finals. Of course, we still have 2 more qualifiers to come, and you guys can be a part of that. If you are interested in joining tournaments and so forth, feel free to join my Discord. New things I've been working on for Dark Elves. I really like it. And the Temp Guard were huge against his build. I love seeing the Skink Priest on the Stego. So GG to all the combatants playing today. Noob for Life, Ludwig, Red Legion and Stormrunner. Massive shout out to Noob for Life as well for claiming victory today. The crown has arisen. He's holding it high with a bloody fist and many a wound, but he does survive to go into the grand finals up against Inticity and 2 more foes. We'll obviously be finding that out in a couple of weeks. We are going to be doing these weekly, so look out for that. I'm actually going to sort out the challenge page just now, and yeah, should be some good fun. Anyway guys, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask while I quickly chat to a Noob for Life, but then we will be popping off. All the buffs stack give Maz like a 72% ward save against missiles, which is very good. Of course, coming with the steg and the banner and all that good stuff. Yeah, didn't have time to line up engine shots. Peace out, man. Cool, cool. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you guys are what makes this special. Hope you did enjoy. And yeah, I will catch you next time. So peace, peace, guys. And as always, stay awesome.